Get back in your hole.
Adam Curry, John C. Dvorak.
It's Sunday, June 26, 2022. This is your award-winning Gibbo Nation Media Assassination episode 1463.
This is No Agenda.
Denouncing democracy and broadcasting live from the heart of the Texas Hill Country here in FEMA Region number 6 in the morning, everybody. I'm Adam Curry.
And from northern Silicon Valley, where it's now official, kind of, Gavin Newsom for president. I'm John C. Dvorak.
It's Crackpot and Buzzkill in the morning.
Okay, I'll say it right off the bat, everybody. Yes, indeed, things sound different. We're working on it. It's a new box.
Adam's got his new box.
Yes, I have a new box. Let me tell you, I have to dial the sound in, but they nailed it. These guys nailed it.
In what way? What did they? Okay, who's these guys?
These guys is Rode. They're from Australia.
Out of Australia.
Yes, and they previously came out with the Rodecaster Pro, which I, of course, universally panned because they did everything wrong. It was more a box for gamers than for podcasters.
Yeah, like the many Chinese boxes that are sold on Amazon for very little money.
And I think you and I deconstructed that they were using the same chips as everybody else, all these other boxes that were coming out. Same thing. You know, they all have these, loopback devices instead of a proper busing system. For those who are interested, loopback devices, it made no sense. So they announced the Rodecaster Pro 2, and this was the one that was going to do everything. And I cannot, design-wise, I wouldn't have done these damn pads the way they do them, but the configurability and all of the pieces in this is exactly what I would have built. In fact, they solved several of the problems that we came across the same way we did. We did it 8 years ago, and nailed it. This is a great device.
Okay. I'm surprised that you liked it so much.
Well, I don't like the sound yet.
No, the sound's not as good.
No, but that's...
But your sound is hand tweaked.
Yeah, and
this is a sound from a box.
Well, I've been tweaking this for days now. I mean, you have no idea how it sounds coming out of the box. It's horrible coming out of the box. Oh yeah. It's completely, like I mean, it's almost like a bad.
The problem is, aren't most people going to just buy this, plug it in, and start podcasting? It's going.
Well, they have a that's pretty much it. They have a special wizard with you can put more what do they call it? Depth. You can put more sparkle and more punchiness. Sparkle. Yes, I want to put some sparkle in my life. So you can put a little more sparkle in it. But it includes the official big bottom, the oral exciter. These are
got an affix.
Yeah, it's got the affix stuff in there.
That should make it sound decent.
Well, yeah, but here's the issue: configuring an audio device and doing it on headphones. Maybe this is an analogy. It's like going to a wine tasting, except you can't really cleanse your palate each time. You can't cleanse out your ears when you're going to go to, it's like, I just spit that sound out. So it's very hard. And at a certain point, your ears are shot. And then you come in and you think, oh, this is great. And you come in the next morning, like this morning, and I flip it on. I'm like, oh, my God.
That's very common.
How could I have thought this was any good?
It's a problem. It's the problem our senses have.
His senses working overtime. So I think we'll get there. I'm
all right. If you say so.
I love your enthusiasm.
I said, if you say so. How much more? Wow, Adam! I hope so.
Yes, exactly.
Golly, this is
Adam,
great.
I'm so happy that after all these years, someone finally made something that you're happy with, and I know you'll be able to dial it in and make the show sound good again. That's all I needed from you.
If I was like that, the show would be dead.
Yes, correct. And before we start off, a couple of things. One, thank you again, all you producers who support this program. We're coming up on 15 years. The stuff we do, the stuff we are able to say, the things we can deconstruct without being deplatformed, without being thrown away, cast aside,
Cast aside, kick to the curb.
Yes, all that kind of stuff is all because you have followed the value for value model. You've trusted it. You've helped. You've become producers. And sometimes I just wake up, and then before I hear the shitty sound in my studio, I write it down. It's like, I got to thank everybody. I love this. I love my job. 2, we're in desperate need of a rain stick here in Texas. It's getting bad now. And I would like to request a session.
You're the one that kind of condemned the whole idea, but
no. Now it's necessary. Now it's time, and now it's usually I'm kind of against it.
It's not going to bother me. We're not going to get any rain here anyway.
Oh,
so sure.
Well, what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to point it northeast, southwest, if that's okay.
Sure.
And I'll do, because I want to cross the stream, so I'll go direction northwest, southeast. So yeah, so we'll cross the stream.
Switch here, so it's on high. All right,
hold on. Yours has a switch.
This is high low.
Oh, okay. I guess mine is just one of those permanently on high. All right, one flip.
One flip. Okay, ready?
Okay, yes. 3, 2, 1, and. No! How many times do I tell you can't be shaking it at the end? That disturbs the frequencies.
I have never used it without shaking it. So
oh, goodness.
It doesn't make a difference.
Goodness. I know that we have a lot of international listeners of the best podcast in the universe, so I want to explain a few things up front. They will return during the program, the way America's constitutional republic works. So first of all, when you hear this is a threat to our democracy, no matter what context it is in, it is not a threat to the United States because the United States is not a democracy. It is a constitutional republic. And that means that we have a constitution, and our constitution is meant for one thing and one thing only, to determine what the federal government is not allowed to do, or I should say the government in general. So when you hear abortion rights, women's rights, gay rights, trans rights, gun rights, there's no such thing. These are, according to our Constitution, these are God-given. And the only reason this document exists is not to give us these rights, but to protect us from the government rolling over them. So, with that in mind, when it comes...
you just blew out half of the circuits in Europe with a simple explanation.
It was like, what? What?
That makes no sense.
Did I miss anything there? Or I think that was kind of spot on, right? That was spot on.
Damn good. More civics teachers should be able to say that in those
well,
yes, words.
And most people in America don't know this. So when you see kids and
they're Democrats.
Well, that's not entirely true because there's also a lot of pro-lifers there's a lot of pro-lifers demonstrating, and I don't think they understand it either.
Yeah, probably not.
So the way it works is the way it should in our federation. We're United States. We're a federated system. It's supposed to be different. There's no way you can have people in Texas are just not the same as people in California, although that's kind of evening out with the influx. They're not the same as people in New York. Yeah. So it's
by the way, our plan worked out.
Yeah.
I guess now we're moving people over to Chattanooga.
Yeah, but I'm just trying to say that states have, and there's even in Europe, in the Netherlands, abortion is allowed up to 24. I think it's 26, but most keep it at 24, and that is when, by the Dutch law, that is viability outside of the uterus. In Germany, it's 12 weeks, so it's not the same universally, and it will never, and it shouldn't be the same universally. And this whole idea of just women getting screwed and their rights taken away. And, we've kind of forgotten even that there are people besides women can get pregnant. That went out the window real quick. I don't hear any men's rights when it comes to pregnancy and abortion, even though it should be. So, when you hear, let me see, where's the, this is a little mini supercut. Oh, actually, here we go. This is Tom Woods, and he kind of explains a little bit about the Supreme Court, because there's also, when you hear politicians saying the radical, crazy Republican Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court is the law of the land, and the Supreme Court this, and the Supreme Court that. That's also not entirely true. The Supreme Court is part of the government. It's not outside of the government. It's one of the three branches of government. And the one thing they cannot do is make laws. So when I hear on television yesterday, I wish I was able to clip it. I was in the car. A CNN news model saying, this is now law of the land. I'm like, no, that's no such thing. There is no law. It can be a state's law, but it's not law of the land. It's not universal. So there's something called concurrent review. This is 20 years old. My buddy Dave Jones dug this clip up of Tom Woods.
One of the points that's consistently made in what we've just looked at and in the discussion of nullification is the idea that there is no common judge that can adjudicate disputes between the states and the federal government. And to say that the Supreme Court is a common judge is to miss the point entirely. Because as Jefferson would say, the Supreme Court is part of the federal government. I mean, these people get their salaries from the federal government. They're in the pay of the federal government. That can't be an impartial arbiter in a dispute between the states and the federal government. It would be rendering judgment in a case to which it itself is a party. So in no way can that be considered legitimate. Jefferson had made this point all along. You can pursue this in. There's a book from I believe the early '90s by Quirk and Bridwell, if I remember the authors correctly, called Judicial Dictatorship, published by Transaction. They point out, as obviously many authors written on Jefferson's thought have pointed out, Jefferson does not believe in judicial review. He doesn't believe the Supreme Court ought to have a monopolistic privilege on interpreting the Constitution, because then that simply means that they're running the country. Because if they get to interpret it and they have the final authoritative word, well, then they dictate. They know if they get to say what the Constitution means, then they're running the country, and it's very dangerous to entrust so few people with that type of power. So he doesn't like that. He believes in something called concurrent review, whereby all three branches of the federal government have a responsibility to maintain constitutionality. So that even if the Supreme Court upholds something, but the President believes it's unconstitutional, he doesn't have to bow down before the Supreme Court and say, well, I guess I have to just get rid of my scruples about this. The Supreme Court upheld it. He has a responsibility not to sign it. And likewise, the Congress should not pass something they believe to be unconstitutional. So that was Jefferson's take. He does not believe there's a common judge ruling over that can adjudicate disputes between the states and the federal government, and the Supreme Court does not count. It would be as if we said, I'm having a dispute with you, how are we going to resolve it? And I said, well, my brother Sal will adjudicate it. I mean, you wouldn't agree to that, because obviously Sal is going to have a difficult time being impartial. And in such cases, more and more, the federal government will rule in favor of itself.
I also don't think Americans understand this really well. Hello?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just not understood. And the more I see people on television, the more I understand that they've just had no civics education. They think that we're some kind of Europe. It's really odd.
People like to believe that for years.
Here's the sad news models mini cut.
Stand by, Jeffrey. We do have breaking news just into CNN.
Give me just a moment of personal here.
Sorry, I'm getting, watching the women there. It's emotional.
This is as devastating a ruling as can be imagined.
It's a very dark day in America.
There really is a lot of people who believe this is a rigged court.
We are looking at a sort of a constitutional, legal, I don't want to use the word civil war.
This is going to be a legal civil war.
It's going to be legal chaos.
We're sort of entering the legal Wild West.
Yeah, I don't think so at all. I don't think there's going to be any civil war over this.
Well, first of all, let's go over a couple of obvious issues. But before we do that, can we play a background? Because I think some people were listening. What the hell are we talking about?
Really? I mean, this is huge news all over the world. Everyone's using it to make Trump look dumb.
Yeah, I know, but I think we still have to. What if somebody listens to the show 10 years from now? They would, we have to do an establishment cut.
Okay.
And so I think at least let's do Roe Update on NPR.
The place you always got to go. It's the well.
Some states have already begun implementing bans as the ruling has triggered abortion bans that take place immediately. Others are moving in a different direction. Minnesota's governor signed an executive order to help shield people seeking or providing abortions in his state.
Okay.
Well, that sucked. That was hardly an establishment
clip.
No,
is that the one you meant? Or I mean, I have an establishment clip. I really do.
Play an establishment clip so we can talk about the whole thing. And I have some irksome thoughts.
Okay, here's we'll go to my well, Nora O'Donnell. Ladies and gentlemen, CBS Evening News.
The CBS Evening News with Nora O'Donnell. Reporting tonight from the Supreme Court.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us on this Friday night on a day that changed America. We're outside the Supreme Court after the landmark decision that overturned Roe v. Wade and ended a woman's constitutional right to an abortion. As you can see behind me, demonstrators both for and against the court's decision were quick to react here in Washington and across the country. More than 100 cities have already seen protests or plan to over the weekend. Also reacting, some of the nation's largest companies announcing they will cover employee travel expenses for abortions if they are not available where they live. Some of those companies include Nike, Uber, Alaska Airlines, Citigroup, Condé Nast, Disney, JP Morgan, Microsoft, Warner Brothers, and CBS's parent company, Paramount Global. And we also heard from presidents past and present. President Obama called the ruling devastating. Michelle Obama called it horrifying. And President Donald Trump said this gives the rights back to the states as it should have been long ago.
Okay, there we go. Now that's a backgrounder.
Thank you.
That's a backgrounder.
So the women who are protesting and men who are protesting this are generally from states where abortion has long since been legalized.
Yes.
And in fact, in many cases, like Oregon, for example, you can pretty much give birth, and as long as the baby's hooked to an umbilical cord, you can club it to death on the spot.
Woohoo!
There's about 7 states with those laws, but the West Coast, Oregon, Washington, California, extremely liberal. New York, extremely liberal. Abortion is legal. So why are you complaining? You look at the states where it's not going to be legal because it's going to be made illegal, or states like Utah.
Right.
So are we supposed to tell Utah, which is kind of a quasi-religious
Get a drink,
state,
John. Clear your throat out for a second.
We're supposed to tell you, I heard my tea.
Yes. A nice cup of tea. Is that No Agenda Tea Club? No Agenda Tea Club by any chance?
No, that was actually PG Tips.
Oh, okay.
So we're supposed to tell Utah what they're supposed to do? Hey, Utah, yeah, I know, you're very religious and you think abortion's a bad thing and you're not going to legalize it in your state, even though women can just drive next door to Colorado or wherever you want to go and get an abortion, but, that's so much work. We're going to tell you what to do. There's not one state, by the way, that doesn't have not one state where it's going to be illegal in the next few days. I think there's 11 total, where there's not a contiguous state drivable that you can drive to and get an abortion if you really want one.
Exactly.
So this complaining makes no sense to me, especially from people in California. In Portland, they're going to tear down the town. It's legal, women. You have not lost anything. You are where you were, before this came down. Yeah, if it was 1950, before Roe versus Wade, and the coat hanger era was in play, sure, you'd have something to complain about. This is purely political.
Yes.
It's to embarrass Republicans.
Yes. And for
all it is. And
for
people that are protesting and screaming into somebody's face, usually these horrible people, screaming into somebody's face, they're full of shit.
Let's listen to what Americans are saying. Man on the street, it's always great when the news can pick and choose.
After a pivotal day for America, we leave you with what Americans were saying today as the course of the country was rewritten by the Supreme Court.
The Supreme Court has now overturned Roe v. Wade.
I feel betrayed and I feel lost. I feel like I'm 19 years old. I've had my first year of college. I shouldn't be worried about my rights being taken away from me. And it hurts that I have little hope for the future.
I've had people in my family have abortions, and they have felt the regret years and years down the line. If Roe v. Wade wouldn't have been legal inside of the United States, I would have family members that I don't have today.
It's shocking. This is something that women should have a right to. I just don't. I can't.
Every child deserves life. Human rights start at conception and end at natural death, and that is what I'm going to fight for until the day that I die.
This is the first time the Supreme Court has ever granted a constitutional right, which it did so when Roe was decided in 1973, and then took it away, a popular right that was widely recognized.
Again, all misinformation. Where's Scary Poppins when you need her? This is factually not true. No rights taken away. You're right, completely political, and it's going to get so much more fun.
And Peter, President Biden is suggesting the court's ruling could lead to other personal freedoms being rolled back. What's he saying about that?
Yeah, that's right, Lester. The president cited Justice Thomas's majority opinion that the right to contraception and same-sex marriage should be reconsidered. President Biden arguing the court is now taking the country down an extreme and dangerous path.
Ew. Because you know what's next? Same-sex marriage and contraception and all kinds of other things the Supreme Court has no business ruling over. Again.
You know what? Yeah.
Again.
You know, here's a...
No, I'm sorry. Let me just... So the difference here is the Supreme Court is keeping to its mission, and that is being abused to make it sound like the Republicans, specifically Donald Trump, are removing rights. That's what you're hearing over and over again. You got to look through that. Okay.
So Mimi's bypassed this whole thing. She's come up with a ploy.
Okay.
She says it is shown up. She picked it up somewhere, and it works pretty well. You make the commentary. This is all Ruth Bader Ginsburg's fault.
Yes.
You heard this?
That's her fault. Yeah.
It's Ruth, and here's the rationale. You just say it to somebody who's screaming at you. This is Ruth Bader Ginsburg's fault because she's the favorite, the all-time favorite of all the jurists ever on the Supreme Court amongst the liberals.
But her ego got in the way. She couldn't give up her seat.
She wouldn't retire when she could have retired, and we would have had another. It wouldn't have been. Trump wouldn't have picked that person. So that you just blame it on Ruth Bader Ginsburg in her grave. Here's some funny stuff. Listen to Trudeau.
Oh, goodness. Hold on a second. We got a lot of clips today, it seems.
Mine are all in a row.
Meanwhile, Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau says the Supreme Court's decision overturning Roe v. Wade could lead to loss of other rights in the U.S. And he says his country will continue to allow Americans in to get the procedure.
Yeah, except you have to be vaccinated and boosted. Otherwise, you can't get into Canada. This is the funniest part about it. All right, here's our Politico, Nancy Pelosi.
This morning, the radical Supreme Court is eviscerating Americans' rights and endangering their health and safety.
Mm-hmm.
But the Congress will continue to act to overcome this extremism and protect the American people. Today, the Republican-controlled Supreme Court has achieved their dark, extreme goal of ripping away a woman's right to make their own reproductive health decisions. Because of Donald Trump, Mitch McConnell, and the Republican Party, their supermajority in the Supreme Court.
Supermajority?
American women today have less freedom than their mothers.
Oh.
With Roe.
Wow. Based upon what you just said, American mothers now have less freedom than their mothers did?
Well, if you go back to the 50s, abortion was illegal in California. It's totally legal in California, Washington, Oregon. Most of the states, abortion's legal. How does that make any sense, Nancy?
Supreme Court, American women today have less freedom than their mothers. With Roe and their attempt to destroy it, radical Republicans are charging ahead with their crusade to criminalize health freedom.
Radical Republicans.
Criminalize health freedom.
Criminalize health freedom. Yes. Now, let's listen to the international response.
There has also been international reaction, with countries around the world condemning today's decision. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau called it horrific, while French President Emmanuel Macron said abortion is a fundamental right for all women. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson called it a big step backwards. The United Nations said it was a huge blow to women's human rights and gender equality. The Vatican, however, praised the decision, saying it is a powerful invitation to reflect, and it challenges the whole world.
We have several constitutional lawyers who are producers. And Professor Johnson, he coincidentally is the producer who was locked down in Shanghai. Oh, by the way, Macau also locked down. We got to talk about that. So this opinion is known as the Dobbs ruling, and he has written a 9-page analysis. And I will read his intro. I won't read the analysis. I mean, the spoiler is right here. He says, "I've read the Dobbs opinion, and as a constitutional scholar and PhD in American politics and public policy, can conclude that the ruling states plainly that any and all laws enacted in the name of public health will be found constitutional. This means all quarantines of the healthy, mandatory shots for hospital workers, teachers, students, even homeschooled students, restaurant workers, etc., forced masking of all peoples all the time, both in public and private spaces. They are constitutional, and there's no grounds for courts to enjoin applications of mass arrest, mass fines, and even forced injections." Now, I saw this circulating on social media, people saying this, well, there goes, this is paving the way. And I was like, okay, I don't believe that. But to have our constitutional scholar here say this, that's interesting.
Yeah. But how does that relate to Roe?
Well, this ruling is what makes it so.
How?
Well, you have to read his 9-page analysis. But there's language in there that shows that this will be the result. And he publishes this, and it's in the show notes, so that other constitutional scholars can take a look at it. I'm not saying he's right. I'm saying this is his opinion. We have an actual opinion. How many other podcasts have an opinion from a constitutional scholar? Huh?
None.
You know what? When I listen to other podcasts, you know what it sounds like to me these days? It sounds like you're listening to Twitter. I think, blah, blah, blah. Well, if that happened to Trump, well, if the Democrats did that, blah, 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 blah.
I got a 5-second clip here. Roe Shorty.
Okay. I got to scroll a lot today. It's so incredibly flipped.
She thinks birth control could be banned next.
So what does this all mean for the women in Mississippi?
Yeah.
Okay, now here is, do you think birth control will be banned next? I just thought that was ridiculous.
Of course it is.
Okay, I have one more Roe clip, which is NPR brought an anti-abortionist in to try, which I thought was funny, and to try to make sense of the other side. They rarely do this.
No kidding.
They usually have two people that are on the same side pretending to be on opposite sides.
Then
and of course you could hear.
I'm sorry.
Sorry, what?
No, I'm sorry. I started the clip. I'm sorry.
Oh, and so it's interesting because she's making some sense, and then the woman says one thing, and the woman couldn't take it anymore, and she jumps in and then kind of kicks her off the show, and then brings in somebody who's on the other side.
Then our job as physicians is to provide excellent care to both of those patients. You know, two of the countries with the best maternal mortality rates in the world, Poland and Malta, abortion is illegal in both of those countries. And Poland actually saw their maternal mortality rates drop dramatically when they went from legalized abortion to making abortion illegal. And in this country, where we've had access to abortion on demand for the last 50 years, we have one of the worst maternal mortality rates in the developed world.
But don't we also have one of the lowest ranked healthcare systems as well? I mean, many of our citizens don't have access to the same kinds of healthcare that other countries do. I'm not sure if that's necessarily a fair comparison.
I'm not saying that abortion is the only contributor. I'm just saying it's not a solution to maternal mortality. I live, like you said, I live in northeastern Indiana. One zip code away from me, I have one of the zip codes with the worst neonatal mortality rates in our state. And a big contributor to that is the fact that the women in that zip code don't have access to prenatal care close to home. They have to travel for that. So these are the kind of solutions that not only are real solutions for our maternal mortality issues in the U.S., but they're also solutions that I personally feel that people on both sides of this issue can unite around.
Hey, that's not the civil war they want. That's not okay. What are we doing, NPR? I think they're falling down on the job.
Well, this may be a little premature for the November primaries. Or I think it's November elections.
Super premature. Maybe that's why it was triggered now.
Well, I'm just kind of thinking the same thing, because here's your Supreme Court, because they know it's going to be a political hot potato, because they already had the leaked document create quite a stir.
Right.
So the leaked document comes out. So now they got to think amongst themselves. And I'm still kind of leaning to John Roberts having leaked the document, but that's, it
doesn't matter. It was coming, and it gave everybody a heads up. It gave everybody a heads up.
Can we hold on to this decision until after the election so it doesn't affect the elections? That's what I would have thought you might consider. Right. And instead they say, let's do it now and get it over with, and then by the time it'll blow over.
Let's do it live.
Let's do it live, because the American public.
I think it's the right way to go.
Span is about a week.
I think it was probably the right decision that way.
I think so too.
Yeah. Now, a lot of so because this is political, and again, it's all political. Yes, in some states, trigger laws, so now abortions will be severely restricted. Texas has a very restrictive law, and here's how it works. I don't like the Texas law. I think that it should be different. So I'm not going to support any politicians who stand behind this. That's how our constitutional republic functions. It's really simple. We have a similar structure in each state, and if we don't like it, then we'll change it. If not, you accept it, because that's, I guess, what people would call democracy, because the majority wants it, or you move to another state. So Californians can go back to California. But, political, you just got to go. You got to be extreme. You got to use extreme words. You have to use dismiss and malinformation. And hands down, the best example of this is Ana Navarro, who claims to be a Republican, a Republican strategist.
A Republican by a phony baloney Republican. This woman is like, reminds me of that woman on the Washington Post who's supposedly be a conservative blogger, Rubin's her name. Yeah. And she's a Democrat. She's a communist. And so is Navarro.
But listen to Navarro and tell me she is not completely unhinged.
The mother before, during, and after the child.
And I am not anybody to tell you what you need to do with your life or with your uterus. And because I have a family with a lot of special needs kids. I have a brother who's 57 and has the mental and motor skills of a 1-year-old. And I know what that means financially, emotionally, physically for a family. And I know not all families can do it. And I have a step-granddaughter who was born with Down syndrome. And you know what? It is very difficult in Florida to get services. It is not as easy as it sounds on paper. And I've got another step-grandson who is very autistic, who has autism, and it is incredible. And their mothers and people who are in that society, who are in that community, will tell you that they considered suicide, because that's how difficult it is to get help, because that's how lonely they feel, because they can't get other jobs, because they have financial issues, because the care that they're able to give their other children suffers. And so why can I be Catholic and still think this is a wrong decision? Because I'm American. I'm Catholic inside the church. I'm Catholic when it comes to me. But there's a lot of Americans who are not Catholic and are not Christian and are not Baptist. And you have no damn right to tell them what they should do with their bodies. Nobody does.
Ladies, obviously it's a very emotional topic. I hear you. I understand that. And I think that, Anna, thank you for sharing all of that. And I appreciate you pointing out that it's complicated beyond just supporting the pregnant woman.
So did I misunderstand Anna's point in saying that because her family members can't easily get, quote unquote, services, i.e. abortions in Florida, that therefore they have given birth to these unfortunate children who really, it would have been better if they were just killed in the womb? Is that what she said?
I thought she was saying that they should be killed now.
You may be right.
Sounded like.
We should have abortion up to 13.
They might as well go back to Hitler.
Yeah, exactly.
Tell me I'm wrong.
No, I think you're right. It's nuts. She's nuts. These people are crazy. And of course that clip is viral. Had you seen that already, or did you just hear it now for the first time?
No, I saw it. I saw it on the Twitter feed with the responses. Oh my God!
Yeah,
people are very upset by what she said.
Well, of course, it's insane what she said. It's not okay.
She's a creep.
Yeah.
She's a creep. Why is she even on TV making lots of money?
Do you think she still makes a lot of dough doing that?
She's a supposed Republican, so we've got a Republican on our look. Here's our panel. One of them's a Republican.
Yeah,
Anna Navarro. She's a Republican. Sure, she is.
Do you think that? She knows how crazy she is? I mean,
have you listened to her for the last 5 years during the whole trial?
I have, but you know, there's what they call performatives and kind of doing your news model acting gig, but this came from her heart. I'm like, holy crap, what lady? Or she just confused?
She's been sincere all along.
Mary Miller, who is the Republican candidate for governor of Illinois, yes, I'm sure you've seen this because holy moly, when it comes down to the right to life, you better read the prompter right.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much, President Trump. It's such an honor to be able to welcome you. I'm so honored to have your endorsement. President Trump, on behalf of all the MAGA patriots in America, I want to thank you for the historic victory for life in the Supreme Court yesterday.
Ruh-roh. Now, she said, thank you for the white life. Now, what she says is, I misread the prompter. It should have been right to life. But that's a Freudian slip no matter what, lady. That was bad.
That's pretty funny.
That's bad. Now, one of the ways I think that will be interesting to solve this issue is by going to the men. When it comes to reproduction, men certainly have a role to play, at least part of it. And I thought this chant says it all.
Regulate ejaculations! Regulate ejaculations! Regulate ejaculations!
And I think we should have that. I think that'd be something that Google develops. Or Elon Musk. Regulate ejaculation. You have to insert a coin first. Or a token.
Token.
Excuse me, do you have your token before we have sex? I need to see your token, please. So this, of course, distracts from everything. And how long do you think this will be going on? 2 months? 6 weeks? What do you think?
Well, you could do a poll on any of these things. I mean, I think it's going to calm down sooner than later.
I hope so. I mean, geez.
Because
it's crazy.
It's wheel spinning.
Yeah.
And it's not accomplishing anything, especially in they had protests in San Francisco. Why?
Yeah.
There's not a woman in the protest doesn't have full rights to an abortion on demand in California. What are you complaining about?
Are there any limits in California? I don't actually know the law. Are there limits?
Gestation, I think, is the main. It's not completely out of control like in Oregon, whereas, again, if it's hooked to an umbilical cord, you can club it.
Is that what it says in the law there?
No, it's got some other way.
You can club it.
It's
I
pretty.
like it.
It's pretty much 1 second. I'm not pleased with this idea. Well, you're gonna be your baby's crowning. I think we better put an end to it.
Yeah. But that's literally now. There's one thing that's not being discussed, which I don't think we'll hear at all on the mainstream, is our baby mama culture that we have created. So just know the statistics are 70% of children grow up fatherless. And that's not just black and brown communities. That's all communities. That's a class. It's poverty. And the baby mama culture, which has been completely exploited, expanded, and turned into hip, cool stuff, and the Kardashians, I put a blame on them. This whole baby mama idea or baby daddy. The way I see it is, doesn't matter how rich you are. It's happened to me. There are women who will try to lock down a man with pregnancy. This is just a fact of life. It's like, okay, well, if I have a kid with this guy, I'll lock him down. I think that is being used too often, and then the baby daddy goes off and says, well, I got three more over here, and I'm not thinking about you too much. I don't think I'm going to support that kid. And that's when you get a late-term abortion. And this is a fact. That's what Planned Parenthood does. That's most of their business. And to be fair, contraceptive stuff is expensive. So it's really a form of birth control, but completely gone awry. And I don't think anyone will really bring that topic up because it's part of popular culture that makes this really, really bad. We need fathers in the house.
All right. So let's move on.
Yes, let's move on to probably the most chilling testimony I have heard of Dr. Commander Lieutenant Burks regarding the vaccinations. Did you see her being drilled and grilled in the Senate or in the House?
I don't have the clips, but Dr. Burks is off the rails.
Well, she pretty much tried to save herself and throw everybody else under the bus with this question, with her answers to this questioning by Jim Jordan.
You're an expert. You were on the task force. You were part of this effort when you were in the previous administration, and you're saying in this administration that you can't rule out the fact that our government was lying to us when they told us the vaccinated could not get the virus.
I don't know about their discussions that they had in the task force. So I can't tell you that. I can tell you as a family member who had individuals that were susceptible, of course we got everybody vaccinated, but we still used layered protection during surges because I knew potentially the vaccine immunity would wane like natural immunity waned. And there was evidence that every 4 months reinfection was occurring in South Africa.
Wow. When the government told us that the vaccinated couldn't transmit it, was that a lie or was that a guess? Or is it the same answer?
I think it was hope that the vaccine would work in that way. And that's why I think scientists and public health leaders always have to be at the table, being very clear what we know and what we don't know.
This is important for the country to know. So when I asked the question, when the government told us that the vaccinated couldn't get it, and I asked you if it was a guess or a lie, you said you don't know. You said you think it was hope. So what we do know is it wasn't the truth. So they were either guessing, lying, or hoping, and communicating that information to the citizens of this country.
I think they were hoping, but you should know in those original phase 3 trials that were done in this country that we only measured for symptomatic disease. So we weren't proactively testing everybody in those trials to see if they got infected with mild or asymptomatic disease. And so people had to present within the clinical trial. We never had the data that it was going to protect against asymptomatic infection.
I'm just struck with the irony. We got government agencies guessing, hoping, or lying with the information they're presenting to the American people. And this is the same administration that wants to set up the disinformation governance board and wants to talk about misinformation. And they're the biggest purveyors of misinformation, false information, hopeful information, but not accurate and true information, which is, again, the frustration I think so many of the folks I get the privilege of representing have shared with me.
Yeah. Okay, so it was all just messaging. They really didn't have any data. I hope this is clear to the American public. This will not be reported on, obviously.
It will be reported? Why would it be?
No, it makes no sense.
It doesn't sell anything.
But that's pretty damning. Now, of course, this is the previous, this administration. She had nothing to do with it. Wir haben es nicht gewusst. But, okay, so we need to start hauling.
Like the idea of, it's based on hope. Does vaccine work? Yeah.
Well,
what do you mean? Yeah, well, I hope it works.
So now that we are preparing to vaccinate children under 5, let's play both sides of that coin. Dr. Osterholm, our buddy up there in, where is he, in Houston? I think he's in Houston or Dallas. In Houston. He's the children vaccine guy. He literally is making vaccines for children, and of course he's real happy about this.
Since the pandemic began, over 45,000 children under the age of 5 have been hospitalized for COVID-19. 10,000 have had to go to the ICU. Omicron has caused a substantial increase in the impact on young children, especially in the U.S. More than 1,400 children and teenagers have died from COVID-19, and more than 400 of those deaths were in children under the age of 5. This is not insignificant. For context, these numbers tell us that COVID-19 is 6 times deadlier than influenza for children. As I've mentioned before, Chris, my biggest concern that parents are still extremely hesitant to get their child vaccinated against COVID. Right now, if I think about the 20 million children aged 6 months to 5 years of age in this country, how many will get vaccinated? Well, let me put this into context in terms of the older age groups. If we look at the 23 million children 5 to 17 who have gotten vaccinated, that sounds great, until you realize 26 million kids in that same age group have not received any vaccine at all.
Oh, no.
So I think it's an important message. We have got to get our kids vaccinated.
Man, that guy's working for the devil himself, isn't he?
I think Biden puts it a little better.
Oops.
Biden announced this whole thing about the vaccines. This is Biden at Vaccine Clinic, where he is congratulating the kids that showed up there to get the shot.
Children are wonderful. Thank you, Arsima, and for that introduction. And Jill and I were honored to visit your clinic today. We met with your fellow nurses and staff who are stepping up each and every day. And we met with families of young children, and there were about, 17, 18 families there waiting for their vaccine shots or have just gotten their vaccine shots. And finally, COVID-19 vaccinations for children over 5 years of age. Finally, some peace of mind. You know, this is, I should say, under 5 years. We have them over 5 years, but over 5 months to 6 months to 5 years.
Yeah, the way you like them, Joe. All right, so that's the president who knows a lot about children. Here is Toby Rogers of the Children's Health Defense. That's Robert Kennedy Jr.'s outfit. And he has a different view.
So Pfizer and Moderna, as enabled by the FDA, have come up with a scheme. And the scheme is called the Future Framework. And the idea is to skip clinical trials in perpetuity. Mm-hmm. And what the FDA is proposing to do, and they're going to vote on this in 5 days. They're going to vote on it on Tuesday, June 28th. And the proposal is to say that any reformulated COVID-19 shots are biologically similar to existing COVID-19 shots. And so therefore they can skip clinical trials altogether. So we won't have any human data at all.
Yay!
Well, in fact, New Vax from Pfizer kind of talks about the new reformulated vaccines that Pfizer's working on as we speak.
Pfizer says new versions of its COVID-19 vaccine appear to protect people against the Omicron variant. NPR's Rob Stein has more.
Pfizer and BioNTech say they tested 2 new versions of their vaccine. One targets the original strain of the virus plus Omicron. The other just targets Omicron. The companies say both new formulations appear to boost levels of antibodies that can neutralize the Omicron variant. The companies are submitting the data to the Food and Drug Administration, which is holding a meeting Tuesday to decide whether to recommend authorizing new versions of the Pfizer and BioNTech vaccine and the Moderna vaccine for another booster campaign in the fall. Some scientists question whether the new vaccines work better than the original vaccine, how strong any added protection might be, and how long it might last.
Oh, my goodness. All right, we have to go to the king now just to wrap up what's going on with the vaccines. Part of your second wave collection that you had on the last episode, Dr. Robert McCullough comes back and really is mincing no words about these vaccines.
A graph. The COVID-19 vaccines take the cake. for the risk of death. And Marc Giaudot from France, scientist in a lot of our working groups, has proposed a name for this. It's called the Russian roulette theory of COVID-19 vaccination. Do you know when the messenger RNA vaccines are made, the messenger RNA is pretty unstable. It has to be cooled, and probably each strand is a little bit different than the next one because of how the base pairs line up, and there has to be humanized code within it so the ribosomes will read it, and then there's these nucleoside analog caps. The belief is that each vial and each lot is different, okay? And on top of that, there are multi-use vials. So there's actually a lot of needles being stuck in each vial. So there's an opportunity for changing oxidation, sulfation. There may be changes in cooling. And so one theory here, Dave, is a lot of people actually probably get a dud, that they get a shot and not much happens. They don't get much immune protection, if any, but they don't really get much in the way of side effects. But if someone really gets a good install of messenger RNA coding for the lethal Wuhan spike protein, it does exactly what it's supposed to do. It injures organs and, in fact, causes death. And when we apply the Bradford Hill criteria for death due to COVID-19 vaccines, we fulfill all the criteria. It's epidemiologically consistent that the vaccines are causing death in a large number.
Ooh, I like that he said install. When you get a good install.
Good install. So I have a complaint.
Okay.
Now, and this has gone on long enough. The vaccines came out. They're over a year in play. And this argument's been going back and forth. You got McCullough on one side, and you got these other people on the other, the Burks and these other, the Faucis and the rest. We can't get a public, open debate about the facts of the matter.
No.
One side says, no, these things will kill you left and right. You're going to get the spike protein. Your head's going to fall off. You're going to drop dead in the middle of the soccer field. You're going to be dying left and right. The kids are going to get myocarditis. And the other side say, no. You got the Osterholm guy. Oh, no, the kids are dying of COVID. These vaccines are safe and effective. Safe and effective. Safe and effective. They say that over and over and over.
Yeah.
And you can't get these two guys in a room. So the public, and actually, didn't you say the same thing with the podcasters? You got get vaxxed. I got vaxxed podcasters. And you got these things are bad. Why can't we get two major league experts? I would put McCullough in there with maybe like a panel of three McCullough level people and a panel of three on the other side and have an open forum. Why can't one of the big networks set this up? Why can't somebody produce this?
Oh, I can tell you exactly why. The reason why is advertising.
Your company, with your partner BioNTech and Moderna, the other company, have both pioneered the use of messenger RNA, which can easily be reprogrammed every time the spike protein of a coronavirus evolves or changes. Do you think we're going to get updated mRNA vaccines every season that'll be directed to each new variation of the coronavirus? And will we have to take those shots every year?
I'm almost certain about it. And I say almost certain because, of course, regulators have the final say on all of that. But that's the beauty of mRNA. You can adapt your vaccine just by changing the sequencing, which is a very minor change, either manufacturing or in the properties of the vaccine, safety or efficacy, but can make a huge difference in the way that responds to the virus. So for this reason, I'm very confident that we will be able to respond very, very fast to every new variant.
Yeah, and this is why you can't have that debate, because Pfizer will be sponsoring and advertising until kingdom come. This is our
media.
Flaw. This is our flaw. This is our flaw.
The media has been bought off. This is a major flaw in the
American system,
and a flaw in the system.
Yep, it is.
And there's nothing anyone can do about it.
I keep saying that the ransomware dudes, they got to let some crap loose on CNN, all of NBC News, just get the ransomware out there. Get it on the satellite dishes, get it in the uplinks, get it on the streaming servers. Let's go, Benz. Come on, let's go. That would stop it. That's the problem. If I were a radical, if I were an anarchist.
A lot of the ransomware guys they've taken the vax, they're happy as clams.
Damn, what kind of ransomware guys are you? Losers. Come on. Speaking of lying, one of the closely watched lockdowns of the entire COVID period was Australia. Sir Chris Wilson still hasn't returned completely to normal. I'm hoping he's even more mountain man than he was. Here's New South Wales. This is the Premier of New South Wales.
I think when you've got, particularly in the media, on any decision the government makes, it was the most ironic one I thought was, we ended up bringing QR codes back when we weren't even tracking and tracing. There was no science behind it at all. It had zero utility. But there was a massive campaign, and when those massive campaigns get run, what it does, it depletes confidence. And that kind of reporting, as we've seen over this period of time, has depleted confidence in our people. So we actually brought it back for one reason only, to instill confidence so that people would go out with using QR codes.
Oh, okay. So it had nothing to do with safety. There was no science behind it. And we just wanted to make sure that you scared people would go out. Bullshit. Bullshit. European Union just renewed their digital COVID pass for another year. It was supposed to expire June 30th. But, why don't we just keep that going? I mean, it'll be handy. Should we have it, something else going on? 453 for 119 against. Europe, you are lost. The amount of people who told me, no, it's expiring. It's June 30th. It's expiring. The pass won't be a thing. It's okay. It's expiring. You have no representation in the European Union.
Well, that's nothing new.
Yeah, but this really does affect people's lives. I mean, you still can't visit the United States unless you're a citizen or have a green card if you haven't been vaccinated. I think that's unbelievable. That's a travesty. Especially because if you just walk across the border in the South, it's not a problem, and you get a debit card to boot and a smartphone.
Well, that's the way to go.
Yeah. So,
all right. Well, I did think we've covered that. I don't think I have anything else.
No. Well, the only other thing is one of our producers suggested there be a No Agenda Nation Green Book.
Yes, I
like the idea.
You saw
general.
my response. I'm assuming.
Yeah. Another great idea that we'll never do.
Something we can't accomplish.
We just can't accomplish that.
It's a great idea, though. Somebody should think about this. What he was suggesting was, and you had to see the movie The Green Book or understand what a Green Book was, which was a
safe place
publication.
A safe place for Black Americans to stay in the. Does that go back to the 30s?
I think it was mostly 40s? In the 30s, where you could travel around the country in a car, and you could stay in these hotels, and you go to these nightclubs and all these. It was all in the book. They would advertise it as friendly, so it wasn't like segregated or couldn't go, that kind of thing. Yeah. Whites only, none of that. So you same thing. You do the same thing with the vaccination. It makes sense. The movie, The Green Book, I think won the Academy Awards.
It sure did. It sure did. So he said specifically. He says with the no agenda message of Roe versus Wade, changes necessary for mandatory vaccines. He sees it too. He sees that. Possibly mandatory vaccinations are cleared now. I have an idea. The two of you make the modern version of the Green Book. It's a great idea. We can't even get the value for value book off the ground, and we invented the damn concept. We invented the whole
moneymaker.
Even though not entirely related, it is related. We still got the gay diseases out there. And for some reason, everyone's picking on the gays.
Demand for the monkeypox vaccine is growing because of a rising number of cases. A long line formed in New York where vaccines were offered to sexually active gay and bisexual men. Some had to be turned away. The CDC is working to broaden eligibility for the vaccine.
Wait a minute. So did they look at the eligibility and say something?
No, they
you're
had
not gay.
A long line of gay men, a huge long line of gay men in New York City. They came by, the FBI came by and took the pictures that they needed for the database, and then they said, you're already in the database, get out. Out.
I thought they were screening and saying, hey man, just talk to me for a second. Okay, walk. Let me see if you're gay or not. Yeah, you're not gay. Get out of line.
Some had to be turned away. The CDC is working to broaden eligibility for the vaccine. The World Health Organization could soon declare monkeypox a global emergency.
Isn't that interesting? So the eligibility is only for gay and bisexual men. Newsflash, bisexual men have sex with women. Should they not be getting the monkeypox vaccination? I mean, the answer, of course, is always no. But, this eligibility is discriminatory by its very nature. Only gay and bisexual men.
Today in New York City, monkeypox vaccines were given out for the first time, only available for those at high risk, gay or bisexual men who have had multiple partners in the last 2 weeks.
Have we learned nothing from the AIDS crisis? It was the same thing. Oh, gay and bisexual men, yeah. Bisexual men have sex with women. Women are at risk if this were true, which is not.
But the one clinic in Manhattan giving out shots was overwhelmed by demand, closing its doors to walk-ins by midday.
I have monkeypox. I was notified by a sexual partner that I had encountered.
Actor Tim Hickernell is suffering from sores and flu-like symptoms.
Nice.
What started as 3 sores became more, and even to this day I feel like I'm finding ones on my body. Like today I just found one on my hand.
According to the CDC, there are 173 cases in the U.S. across 25 states. Most cases are mild.
At this point, the general population should not be worried that monkeypox is going to cause another pandemic. We're just not there yet.
But high-risk groups are being asked
We're working on it, people. Stay tuned.
to remain vigilant.
It appears that intimate partner contact is the key component and that you have to have close physical contact.
Monkeypox is not nearly as contagious as COVID. Still, the World Health Organization is considering declaring a global health emergency. A decision could come by the end of the week. While here in New York, Hickernell hopes to help by telling his story.
I just feel it's important to educate one another and look out for each other and just keep talking about it.
Awareness, say medical experts, will be the best defense. Stephanie Gosk, NBC News, New York.
Just keep talking about it, people. It's all going to be good. It's going to be dynamite.
Keep talking about it.
But this is so incredibly lame. I mean, it really is. And we have a new one now for the gays.
Meanwhile, an outbreak of meningococcal disease in Florida is being called one of the worst among gay and bisexual men in U.S. history. 7 people have died. The CDC urges men in Florida who have sex with men to get vaccinated.
I mean, this is so discriminatory. And is anyone noticing what's going on here? All of We've just taken the G and a B right out of the alphabet. That's just you guys. Do the G's and the B's never have anything with the T's, with the 2 A's? I'm just asking.
I don't know. I'm just wondering who the 2 is.
That's
the number two
spirit. Two spirit.
What is that supposed to mean?
It's bullshit.
I'm a 2. And 2 what?
You're 2 spirit. No, you're 2.
You're too happy?
Yes,
you're
exactly.
Too happy.
Yes, you're 2 spirit is what you are.
2 spirits.
Yeah.
2 spirits.
Well, let's look at some.
I can guarantee we have no 2s listening to this show.
Oh, I'll bet we do. No, I'll bet we do.
They're fed up with us.
No, I don't think so. They're still trying to convert us and trying to get us in on the program. Possibly.
I do have a January 6th wheel spinning clip. One clip about January 6th, and I think it says it all.
Okay.
It's from Meet the Press.
I'm looking for, what would you title this one?
Jan 6.
That's weird. Oh, there it is. I got it.
Brings me to the all-important question, Betsy. Does the January 6th hearing break through at all? Is this more proof it does not?
I don't think it does. I've talked to 2 separate Democratic members of Congress in the last couple of weeks about January 6th. Obviously can't say who. And both of them have said offhandedly, nobody gives a bleep about January 6th when they're talking about their districts and the way that elections play out. The reality is, obviously, it's a very important issue. Obviously, I've been covering this nonstop for the last year. It's important. It's a key part of understanding American history and the democratic trajectory that this country is on. It is also true, at the same time, and not at all contradictory, that it's not a top-tier voting issue for people who are figuring out who they're going to support during the midterms. Top-tier issues are material concerns. How are people paying their mortgages? How much does it cost to get milk and bread? How much does it cost to get gas? Do these hearings result in different electoral outcomes for Democrats? I have yet to see any actual evidence that they do.
Now, her name is Betsy Woodruff Swan, but she is Bob Woodruff's kid.
She's Bob Woodruff's kid?
Yes, sir. I looked it up because I had the same clip.
Bob Woodruff, the anchor.
Well, he's a news guy.
Yeah, news anchor.
Yeah. So this is, the typical little nepotism there.
She's somewhat adenoidal when she talks. She can't quite get
I'm sure she can't help it, John. I'm sure she's trying. I'm sure she can't help her personal
maybe
defects.
If she would maybe rinse her nose out once in a while, get those, whatever could be stuck up
Here's a little January 6th mini cut from MSNBC.
Welcome back to our primetime recap of today's explosive January 6th hearing.
Stomach-turning, riveting, compelling,
stunning testimony from the House Select Committee investigating the January 6th assault.
A stunning round of testimony from the witnesses, of course, what the committee was able to offer in terms of new materials that we had never seen before.
Never before seen material. Yes, it's great. What a bunch of hooey. Yeah, you're right. No one cares. And eventually this Roe v. Wade it'll have to fade out because things are just going to start to really, really suck. But first, related to the January 6th, I didn't know this was taking place. Apparently, a lot of Republicans are requesting to be pardoned by the current president.
Trump White House officials testified that at least 5 Republican members of Congress asked for presidential pardons. On that list, Republican Representative Mo Brooks of Alabama, who sent an email to the White House asking for pardons not only for himself, but for the 147 Republicans in the House who voted against certifying the 2020 election. The special assistant to the president at the time also testified that Representative Matt Gaetz of Florida was personally pushing for a blanket pardon since early December. Representative Andy Biggs of Arizona also sought a pardon, according to witnesses, as well as Louis Gohmert of Texas and Scott Perry of Pennsylvania. David, tonight, reaction is starting to come in from these Republicans. Scott Perry's office denying this, calling it a ludicrous, soulless lie. Mo Brooks not denying it at all, but saying the pardons were unnecessary after all. But the words from Republican Adam Kinzinger, who says the only reason why you would think to ask for a pardon is if you think you committed a crime.
Why are these guys doing this? Are they really that worried?
I think this is old news that was brought up just recently because I guess they did during this one era. I don't know. I have no idea what this is about. It's only 6, really.
Yeah.
But I was noticing something when I picked up. I got a bunch of crappy clips. They're actually great clips, but they're not. I don't like the way they're produced because somebody has to put this music. I don't understand.
Oh, I hate it when that happens. Yeah, people do that all the time. But okay, well, we can live with it.
They're doing it all the time, and they're doing it on NPR live on the air.
What? They're doing like clown music and Valkyries and stuff to go with a supercut or something? Oh, geez.
So there was a bunch of these clips. They're all long, but I got Al Gore, I got Hillary, I got John Kerry, I got Stacey Abrams, which is just a minor one, all bitching and moaning that they lost the election unfairly. And I've noticed this. You can play any one of these, and it's just they're bitching and moaning about, I was elected. Just what Trump did.
I see what you're saying. Yes, okay. Yeah.
Here, play Stolen Al Gore.
And for those who are maybe not old enough, Al Gore, there was a disputed election of 2000, George W. Bush versus Al Gore. You might have heard of the hanging chads. How many weeks did it take? 3 weeks before they finally announced who had won? Maybe even longer.
The Supreme Court told them to put a stop to it, and so they did.
And then they called it, yeah.
We actually won the last presidential election, folks. They stole the last presidential election.
And Al Gore won that election. I think he won it anyway.
Actually, I think I carried Florida.
Bush versus Gore.
What I like about this, John, and thank you for bringing this, typically on typical podcasts, all you'll hear is, well, man, it was like Bush and Gore and all the Democrats said this and I think they said it was the other way around. We bring
some podcasts this week and you got a hair up your ass.
I just realized that that's all that I like Megyn Kelly. She'll never have me on again, so I can say whatever I want. She's boring. She brings on people who just, Tim Pool, the same thing. They're just sitting there doing Twitter. They're doing Twitter. They're like Twitter on a podcast, and it's boring. Bring some clips, people.
A court took away a presidency.
If all the votes were counted in Florida, that Al Gore would be president today and George Bush would be back in office.
I come from Florida, where you and others participated in what I call the United States coup d'etat.
There's no doubt in my mind that Al Gore was elected president.
This was from NPR?
The fraudulent 25 Florida electoral
No, this is from one of the clipped people that do supercuts.
The chair must remind me.
It is signed by myself on behalf of my diverse constituents and the millions of Americans who have been disenfranchised by Florida's inaccurate vote count. The Supreme Court, not the people of the United States, decided this election.
Speaking to a Democratic group in Chicago Tuesday, he made it clear he thinks Al Gore was.
All right, hold on. Now let's listen to Hillary, because it's 3 minutes. So, can I do Hillary now?
Yeah, you can do anything you want.
Oh, okay. I'll do Hillary.
You can run the best
Let me rephrase that.
campaign. You can even become the nominee. And you can have the election stolen from you.
How can you win with Russian interference, though?
That's a real
what I'm
thing.
scared about in 2020.
But rightly.
Because I think he's an illegitimate president that didn't really win. So how do you fight against that in 2020?
You are absolutely right.
He's an illegitimate president in my mind.
Would you be my vice presidential candidate? Folks, look, I absolutely agree.
Trump didn't actually win the election in 2016. He lost the election, and he was put into office because the Russians interfered.
Trump knows he's an illegitimate president.
The president-elect, although legally elected, is not legitimate.
I don't see this president-elect as a legitimate president.
You said you believe that Russia's interference altered the outcome of the election.
I do. We have a president who, if in fact it is proven, has been assisted by the Russians and may in fact not be a legitimate president.
The one thing that Trump is fearful of when it comes to his being president is that finally we will see how illegitimate his victory actually was.
Oh, man, this is so good. It's all the same thing. But no. They're missing Trump. Here's John Kerry, who, as some will remember, lost against Barack Obama's reelection.
Constantly shifting vote.
No,
I'm sorry. That's wrong. That was Mitt Romney. What is John?
No.
Who ran against Obama? Romney.
John Kerry, which is the next clip you're about to play, ran against Bush's reelection.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. But it was indeed Romney who ran against Obama's reelection, right?
Yeah, but that was then. Well, which I'll bring up the point about that.
I think he actually got robbed.
Now before you play the Kerry clips.
Yeah.
Romney ran against Obama and lost.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't bitch and moan and say he lost, he got stolen, blah, blah, blah. John McCain ran against Obama and lost, and he didn't bitch and moan saying that he won and Obama's an illegitimate president. You can go back and one person after another. The Democrats always do this. They bitch and moan, and the Kerry clips will show this happening there too. And they claim and they whine and they go on and about, oh, it's illegitimate, I should have won. No Republican ever does that, except Trump did it. Trump's the only one who did it, and they make a big fuss. Get back in your hole. You can't do it. We're the ones who complain constantly. Here's John Kerry.
Constantly shifting vote tallies in Ohio and malfunctioning electronic machines which may not have paper receipts, have led to additional loss of confidence by the public.
The right to vote has been stolen from qualified voters.
In 2004, the democratic process was thwarted.
The 2004 presidential election in Ohio was riddled with unnecessary problems.
Some machines malfunctioned, causing votes to be counted more than once, or not at all.
Based upon an inordinate number of allegations suggesting gross voting rights violations and misconduct, I join with my colleagues in objecting to counting the state of Ohio's electoral votes.
As in 2000, the votes of many who wanted to vote were not, in fact, counted.
This last Friday night, I arranged to meet Senator Kerry at a fundraiser to give him a copy of my book
He told me he now thinks the election was stolen.
The wife of John Kerry said she has lingering doubts about the legitimacy of the election. Her theory goes like this. Two brothers, she calls hard right Republicans, own 80% of voting machines in the U.S. Therefore, it would be easy to hack into the mother machines that control the electronic voting.
There were numerous irregularities in Ohio, including large percentages of rejections of provisional balloting, problems with voting machines.
As we look at our election system,
it's basically the same script over and over again, isn't it?
It's the same script over and over again, always executed by the Democrats. Trump took the same
he
script.
Took their play.
And this was no good. You can't have him saying this.
That's not okay, Trump. Back off, man. Get away from our shit.
The only other one I have on here, and I think I could document this going way back, but let's do one that just shows this little offshoot trying to pull it off on a state level. You don't see it as much on the state level, but this is Stacey Abrams, and this is a shorter clip series. The other ones were, by the way, I want to mention to the people out there that these clips are 3.5 minutes long, and Adam cut them off at about a minute. They could have gone on and on and on and on and on.
And they will be in the show notes. Everybody can go ahead and listen to them.
You can listen to them yourself. Yeah. But here's one that's less than a minute from Stacey Abrams using the same script.
Voter intimidation. There aren't going to be any more.
And she's using the same background music. I mean, that's really brazen.
Voter intimidation. There aren't going to be any more election stealings.
And despite the final tally and the inauguration and the situation we find ourselves in, I do have one very affirmative statement to make. We won.
Without voter suppression, Stacey Abrams would be the governor of Georgia. Andrew Gillum is the governor of Florida.
You refuse to concede.
That sounds kind of cool in hindsight. Did you see that Gillum was convicted?
Yeah.
Convicted of 10 counts of wire fraud for raising money for illegitimate purposes. Poor guy, man. He went down in flames.
Is the governor of Florida.
You refuse to concede and say that you lost. Do you stand by that decision today?
Absolutely. The election was not fair. The process was not fair.
If Stacey Abrams doesn't win in Georgia, they stole it. It's clear. It's clear.
I think that Stacey Abrams' election is being stolen from her.
It was not a free and fair election.
Brian Kemp stole the gubernatorial election from Georgians and Stacey Abrams.
But will I say that this election was not tainted, was not a disinvestment and a disenfranchisement of thousands of voters? I will not say that.
Oh, yeah.
And so now we have the January 6th hearings. And because Trump wouldn't admit that he lost, this is a threat to democracy. But meanwhile, you got these other bozos, Kerry and Hillary and everybody that's a Democrat doing the same thing constantly. How come that's not a threat to democracy?
Well, seeing as there's
out of control.
Threats to our democracy is hanging on by a thread. We have good news.
Q is back. Got him.
Q is back, John. Q is back. Q is back.
That's good news.
Q is back. Got him.
He's coming back. He's back. He's back. It's going to be freaking crazy. But latest posts, just saying, is shall we play a game once more?
Ooh, he's back and he said, shall we play a game once more? This could be very exciting for these midterms. Q is back. Can you believe that there are people who are actually excited about that? Do they not feel screwed?
No.
I mean, oh, man.
I mean,
they should. They should feel incredibly screwed by Q screwed. They were Q screwed. Screwed by the Q.
Yeah, the only thing that makes sense.
With that, I would like to thank you for your courage and say in the morning to you, the man who put the C's in clips of complainers. Ladies and gentlemen, please say hello to my friend on the other end, Mr. John C. Dvorak.
Hey, in the morning, you, Mr. Ann McCurry. In the morning, all ships, sea boosts, the graphene, the subs, the war, dames, and nights out there.
Yeah, well, in the morning to the trolls in the troll room. Let's have a little hand. No, you know what? Let's just stand still. Stand still. I'm going to count you.
Troll count.
They're running away. I said stand still. Okay. 2,546. Hello.
Ooh.
That just popped up a bit, eh? How isn't that getting pretty close to a normal day back at the old time?
Yeah, I think that's a normal number.
That's beautiful. Thank you very much, trolls. Good to have you all here. Very nice. You can find the trolls at trollroom.io. In fact, you can actually become a troll if you want. You can just go in there and troll around. I mean, you can listen live to the noagendastream.com. I knew I forgot something. Just thinking, I forgot to turn on the live alert.
Recorder.
Yeah, this new system is so great. I forgot to turn on the recorder. No, I forgot to turn on the live. I was so excited about the new gear and getting it all set up with you that I didn't send off the bat signal to all of the 2.0 apps. Sorry, people. Yeah, sorry, my mistake. So good. There's a lot of trolls who are hanging out, who are listening for sure. And you can also go to a Mastodon server, becoming more and more popular these days as you go on Twitter and all you think is, I'm reading podcasts. This is annoying. So why don't you get a real social network? Get on the Fediverse. It's where it's dangerous, where it's crazy. But you do have a lot more control. And if you set up your own server, you have ultimate control of what comes in, who you can follow, who follows you, etc. And you can follow John C. Dvorak at noagendasocial.com or Adam at noagendasocial.com and join the conversation. It's good. Have you seen anything good on the socials?
Well, we got some memes.
Oh, you picked them up off on No Agenda Social? It's a good source for clips and stuff, I find.
It's a good source for a lot of... Yeah, it's not bad.
And we got one guy pro-Russian. That's Sir Gene. You know, he keeps posting, and then I think Comic Strip Blogger keeps spitting in his face. You know, CSB is anti-Russian. Gene is pro.
Oh, yeah, he's Polish.
But what you don't see is these long threads that keep popping up, and the algo would continue to make you crazy. You just don't see that. And that's the beauty of a non-algoized, federated social network. Get on the stick.
Another advantage, especially with our Mastodon server.
What's that?
No Rob Reiner.
I'd like to thank the artist who brought us the artwork for episode 1462. We titled that one Harp at Home. Big hit with the ladies. Everybody loved the title. And the more I look at it, the more I love this artwork by Capitalist Agenda, as we were, of course, celebrating our favorite food group, the macaroni and change, the Kraft name change to mac and cheese. We were so excited about it. Unlike everyone else who was very excited, we didn't get paid to be excited about it, but we did get badass art. And this was the smiley face macaroni and cheese with the gooey, nasty drip of cheap cheddar, and he's got a tongue sticking out, licking the cheddary lips. It was so... what is the term I'm looking for? It was troubling. It was a troubling piece of art. But does that sound fair? Troubling.
I don't know. I just thought it was a nice piece.
Yeah, but I looked at it more and more as I see it scrolling by on Twitter.
Well, the original one you was Bugs and Cheese.
I thought it was cute. I thought the Bugs and Cheese was a good one, and then we had a lot of artists.
I liked
coming
Hookers on Ice. I thought that was a good one. It was next to Bugs on Cheese, the two houses,
right?
Two shacks, and one of them pointing an arrow on it, and there's a little signage.
Yeah. And I think what we decided was mac and cheese and the Kraft name change, that it was the timing was right to do something.
Yeah, and we can always do Hookers on Ice.
Hookers on Ice, it's a seasonal thing, man. I think you used for the newsletter the Masterminds syringe with facts and false and.
Yes, I used that nice one piece. Because I thought it was nice. It's a little understated, but it's very modern. It's modern graphic art style with just kind of there's a messiness to it that I like. I thought it worked well.
It was a beautiful piece, yeah.
And the messiness contrasts with the neatness, the super fine neatness of the type font he used for the logo. It's just the contrast within the piece itself is quite, I thought, appealing.
The J6 bomb from Capitalist Agenda. didn't work. Because you looked at it and went, what does this mean?
The J6 mom.
Yeah, no, bomb. It was,
the bomb.
Yeah.
Oh, the bomb with the donkey hanging on. Yeah. I liked the piece. It was so pretty, but I couldn't figure out what it was about.
It was too small. The little J6 bomb was on the warhead, and it just wasn't apparent. It's hard. You got to look at these things at the size that you'll see it in apps, because that's what we do. And
I did like the donkey hanging onto a bomb. Though.
That was cute. It was cute. And we had, what else did we have? A couple other mac and cheese things. I think that was it. Was there anything else that we...
Yeah, most of the mac and cheese things didn't quite turn the corner.
Tonton Yield tried to do a Hookers on Ice, which I thought was a little too blatant.
Yeah. I like the pink hat, but it should have been a pussy hat. Would have been better.
Well, she has a pussy. Isn't that a pussy? Oh no, it's not a pussy hat.
No,
it's the pussy hat color. Yeah.
No, I still think that Sir Ned's Hookers on Ice. I thought was the winner there.
It's dynamite. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you very much to all of these artists for continually bringing the heat when the heat is necessary. It's really appreciated. And again, we thank. Wait, who was it now? Who was it who won? Capitalist Agenda. Capitalist Agenda. Yeah. Capitalist Agenda.
This is the kind of stuff he's quite good. He's like just generally good. And I also want to welcome back Kenny Benoit.
Did you unblock her?
Yeah, I found. Yeah, I told you I found a way to do it.
I mean,
Roundy found a mechanism.
Did you hear the? I'll play it at the end of show. Did you hear the block mix?
Yeah, I heard it.
You didn't like it?
More insulting. I'm just here to be insulted.
It makes you like a superstar. What are you talking about? It was fantastic.
Douche star.
No. Okay.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll listen to it again.
I take that as a huge compliment, and people love you for who you are.
Block them.
All of these images
the mechanism's there for a reason.
That's true. All of these images can be seen. Actually, you can, if you're listening in real time, if you're in the troll room or listening to noagendastream.com, you can just sit there and literally refresh noagendaartgenerator.com while we're talking to see stuff pop up. Or get yourself a new podcast app. That's where all of them come by, the ones that we're talking about. Other ones are used for different chapters. This is a Podcasting 2.0 exclusive feature for now, although today we got a beautiful write-up in 9 to 5 Mac, which I think is pretty big. Isn't 9 to 5 Mac a big publication?
Never heard of it.
I think they've been around for a while. We got a very nice write-up.
What did they say?
Podcasting 2.0 kicks ass, and Apple should implement the standards.
Well, they should.
That's what I liked about it, is that they're saying, hey, we're Mac guys. We're 9 to 5 Mac. You should be implementing this stuff and not being douches.
Yeah. When somebody hands you something on a silver platter, does all the work that you should have done, and you can just use it because it's open source or whatever, however it's distributed, you just do it. What is the drawback? What is the NIMBY non-invented here thing going on for when you can just take advantage of a situation? I don't get it.
That's Apple for you. They've always been like that. They've always gone their own way. And many times to great success. So that's up to them. They don't care. They don't really care about podcasting. They do not care. It doesn't show up on their revenue. They don't care. People will still use their devices. That's what they care about. So, all right, everyone can be usurped. You too, Apple. Now let's thank let's thank all of our executive and associate executive producers for episode 1463 of the No Agenda Show. And we kick it off with Amy Hulsing from Chanhassen, Minnesota, 513. Let's see what this is about. First time donation. A switcheroo goes to John, the best. Okay, hold on a second. Switcheroo here. Switcheroo. Okay, so it goes to John. All right, John Hulsing. Nice. He'll be happy with that. He's the best husband, and 513 was our wedding day. Oh, okay. That's nice. He's the coolest dad and a great business partner. Adam and John, you guys are the best. Wait a minute, are we better than John? Okay. Thanks for keeping me sane in an insane world.
I'm covered either way.
By the way, she says Steve Boltz is a douchebag. And
Bulls.
Douchebag.
Sorry? Bowles? Bowles.
No,
B-O-L-Z.
no karma.
She didn't ask for karma. She didn't ask for karma. She just asked for...
Brian Lowrance in Hopedale, Illinois, 334.20. Another switcheroo.
Oh, no.
Please credit this to Shauna Lowrance.
Okay.
I never realized how bad a douchebag smells until my wife had me de-douched for Christmas. I'm just reading this, by the way.
Yeah, I love it.
Girl, you stank. For the love of God, Adam, please de-douche Shauna. Happy birthday, my love.
You've been de-douched.
Sounded pretty desperate there.
33420. Thank you.
Now wait. Now we have Alex Lesh, L-O-E-S.
Loesch.
Loesch. I think it's Lesh, L-O-E-S-C-H-E. I think it's Lesh.
It's like Dana Loesch.
Yeah,
Loesch,
but
she pronounces it Loesch.
No, she pronounces it Lesh. She says Loesch. Dana Loesch. Could be Loesch.
It's Loesch or
Alex
Lesh,
is from Chicago, 33333. Great newsletter, great sound. Maybe not so today.
Until today.
I'm working on it. Fellow producers, I will be staying on the Vegas Strip this Thursday through Sunday. Looking at you, Brunetti. I can be reached at MB Conband. That's MBCONNBAND. I guess he has a band. On Twitter and Insta. My Chicago NA group will vouch for my Lebowski vibe. Love and lit. All right, love is lit. Love and light. Love is lit. Thank you.
Got to do with Brunetti. Brunetti lives up in Jefferson.
Yeah, he's just, well, you know. Doesn't Brunetti have, doesn't he come down to Vegas from time to time to visit his mom?
Sir Kevin Dills doesn't. He's the Duke of North Carolina. He's in Huntersville, North Carolina, 333.33. Great newsletter. John?
Wow.
More harmonica, please. Thank you.
It's interesting.
Sir Kevin Dills, Duke of North Carolina.
Yeah, it's interesting how I was not able to get to the email to help. John always sends me the newsletter so I can take a look at it for typos. So I didn't do anything on this newsletter, and it's now, this never happens. 2 in a row. Great newsletter.
Yeah.
Well, you probably shouldn't send it to me anymore. I think you're doing the right thing.
I think what it was, I'll tell you what it was. It's been months and months since I did a rundown of a bunch of screwball memes and stupid tweets and stuff. And so I did this time.
Right. Oh, yes.
And people are like, because it's visual, it's just pictures. Then look, a picture. And so they're very happy. And also, you did contribute because you gave me the hypocrite.
Yeah, well, that was from one of our producers. Posting. Producer Scott, I think, gave that to us.
Well, that was very fun. Very good.
Great. It was great to end the newsletter with. We are on to Jamie from Chaska, Minnesota, 333.
Q is back.
.33. Jamie Q. Yes, you're right. In the morning, Adam and John, switcheroo here, donating for my husband, Matt. Oh, my goodness. Okay, so he's Matt Q, I guess. Matt Q. All right, he is now. Okay, Matt Q. Wishing him a happy 33rd birthday. He's on the list. Please add him to the birthday list for June 29th. Give him a de-douching.
You've been de-douched.
He hit me in the mouth shortly before the coof, and No Agenda became my weekly double dose of sanity I didn't know I needed. Thank you both for producing the best podcast in the universe. Love is lit. Jingles, please. Shape-shifting Jews. I got Ants, Al Sharpton. Oh, my goodness. Resist we much. Gonna need a Bitcoin. And any karma there? Okay, we'll just leave it at that then.
Roll up for the magical shape-shifting Jews. Step right this way. Roll up for the shape-shifting Jews.
I got ants.
But resist we much. We must and we will much. About that, be committed.
They're saying that all hell is going to break loose and you're going to need a Bitcoin.
Sounds right.
Onward with Eric. I think it's Kempema.
Mm-hmm.
Vienna, Austria. An Austrian. 333.33. In the morning, first-time donator, and wish to support your excellent breakdown of our propaganda machines. No requests. Your extensive research is reward enough. Friendly greetings, Eric, a Dutch expat living in Vienna, Austria.
Yes. And I think it was Eric who sent me a note that in Austria now at night, to save on energy costs because it's so outrageous, the cell companies are shutting down some of their frequencies on the towers.
Yeah.
Things are looking up. Now, I inserted one here because it came in late. She's on the birthday list, and she's a longtime donor, and I broke the rules, basically. Dame G Money.
Get credited again next show because we'll forget.
Yeah, we will. Dame G Money sent 333.33, and she says, I'm really sorry. I know, but it's my birthday. It's a show day. Now I'm a baroness. It's cause for celebration. Please, can I have some goat karma? And of course you can.
You've got karma.
Well, then I'll take Zimbabwe, the Baron of Shotsaland in Cary, North Carolina, 333.33. And he's writing, this month's donation is actually from my wonderful wife and best friend, Baroness Marianne Schneeberger, damsel of disaster. She's a tireless worker both at home and outside, and it's also the most courageous and honest person I know she is. I'm proud to be her man.
Nice.
Marianne is sending this to celebrate my birthday yesterday, 6/6/22, so perhaps this will take me up another notch in the no-agenda knighthood hierarchy. Nothing else required. Sincere thanks for the show. Zimbabwe, the Baron of Shotsaland. I don't think so.
Shotziland. What do you mean?
I think he's already up. You're moving up the ladder.
I think so, too.
You do your own accounting. Let us know.
Is this Maltimicus? Maltmicus? Maltimicus? Interesting name. He's in Boston, or she, 333, to whom it may concern.
Boston, New Jersey.
Oh, hello. To whom it may concern, you two saved my sanity during my PhD. Really now? Please dedouche me.
You've been dedouched.
My fiance needs emergency job karma. She's stuck in Shanghai, and we need to get her out of there. Love is lit from Malta. Oh, my goodness.
Jobs, and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
Sorry.
You've got karma.
Whatever it was, I have to dedouche right away. Sorry about that.
You've been dedouched.
Nice sound to it. Noah.
It's like not driving a new car, you know.
Noah Watermaker in the Baron of Surquota, the Baron Surquota of the Sierra Batholth in Three Rivers, California, 333.
I think it's Batholith.
I don't know what it is. I have no idea.
Oh.
Batholith. Okay, Batholith. Doesn't sound right. Thanks a ton, bros. Relationship karma and any Obama no Mexican song, Hat Dance, or La Cucaracha, I think. ITM Noah Watermaker, Baron Sequoia of Sequoia. Get it? Sequoia of the Sierra Batholith.
Hey, listen. No. You're in my house. Hey, come on, guys. No. Shame on you.
La 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 la. Hey.
No. I'm up in the house. Hey. Drinking the booze. No.
Hey. Why don't you do the next one? I'll take the long one.
Nick Foster in Kearney, Missouri, 333. And he says one thing and one thing only. Need karma for a big sale.
Big sale.
You've got karma.
All right. Let us know how that goes. William Levenberg is in Los Angeles, California. Sorry to hear that. 30303. Great number. Hey, guys, dedouche me immediately.
You've been dedouched.
Rogan Donator from Adam's first appearance. Millennial listener. Turkish producer. Holy moly, you've got the trifecta. It's pronounced Turkey. Tur like tourism. Key. And then add a Canadian A. Okay. Turkey.
Turkey, eh? Hey, you're from Turkey, eh?
You're from Turkey,
yes,
eh?
I'm from Vancouver.
Somehow I'll never. Hey, that guy's from Turkey, eh? Oh my God, that's going to sound so weird.
Turkey.
Now it's stuck in my head. I'll never be able to say Turkey again. Turkey, eh? Thank you. Stress the E and roll the R just a smidge. Oh, I'm sorry. Turkey, Turkey, eh? Turkey, eh?
Turkey, eh?
Turkey, eh? I don't know which E are we supposed to stretch? Turkey, eh? Turkey. All right, we'll try.
It's a nightmare.
He even says, make Adam read it. John shouldn't be asked to do anything unusual, lest we upset him. I want...
Yeah.
Don't
upset me.
Jobs karma, Jews in space. What? Do we have a Jews in space thing that I'm unaware
we
of?
had once a long time ago. Jews in space.
I don't think we've had any other Jews in... I don't think we have a jingle of Jews in space. Let me see.
I think there was one.
I mean, you had the magical shape-shifting Jews.
No, there was Jews in space.
Oh, wait a minute. The Jewish space laser, maybe?
No.
Yeah. Well, the troll room is desperately trying to help. No, I don't think so. You just did it live. That was great. I continue.
Will you do it live?
No, hold on. Because he wants jobs karma.
We'll
Jews
do it live.
Jews in space. I'm woefully unprepared for this. Biden get vaccinated. Oh, brother, I don't have... That is the hardest one to find now. Do you know how many times Biden vaccinated shows up, or the two terms Biden vaccinated, and then the ISO no? You know how many ISO no's we have?
Lots.
Yeah, lots. Okay, we're continuing. My donation digits, which was the nice 303.03, are because I'm turning 30, and the 303.3 is a palindrome, kinda. My amygdala is shrink-wrapped by your golden voices, certainly the best pod in the firmament, says William Levenberg. Okay, so we don't have his Jews in space, but you're going to do Jews in space.
Okay, I'll open with it.
You open with it, and then I'll do is get vaccinated, and I'll give him the karma. Okay, let's do it.
Jews in space.
Get vaccinated.
No. You've got karma.
That was good, man.
And I'm going to mention that I'm not going to do that again.
No, I agree. I don't think it should be repeated.
No. Gummy Nerds, Viscount of the Troll Room in Green Bay, Wisconsin. 222.22. Go Packers. Once one's ducks are placed in a row, somehow, ironically, life seems to be a little less quackers.
Hey.
Now, believe you me, as they say, this is no canard. They're just jokes. May we, the No Agenda family, have a bit of karma, please. All the dames and knights, producers, and douchebags alike are deserving of it. Love is lit. Troll Count Gummy Nerds. Viscount of the Troll Room.
You've got karma.
Another 222.22 from Karen Smith, who's in Caslow, British Columbia. And, of course, it's not a row of ducks there. It's a row of geese. Thanks so much, she says. Sad puppy got me. Did you roll out the sad puppy?
No.
I didn't see the puppy.
Well, yeah, but weeks ago.
Yeah. You saved my sanity during COVID. I mean it. Karen with an I. Well, you know what? We may be saving your sanity again because there's more to come. None of this is over by a long shot.
This is true. Anonymous comes up and finishes off the list of associate executive producers. He's in Clowna, BC, near Spuzzum, 222.22. Anonymous from Canada, 222.22 Canadian. House buying karma, please.
Got that for you.
You've got karma.
And good luck up there in Canada.
And that's it, right? That concludes
that's our group of associate executive producers for show 1463. Want to thank each and every one of them for making the show a possibility and a reality.
As always, a beautiful group of people. Thank you so much for supporting this podcast. It is your podcast. Without you, it wouldn't be here. We need time, talent, and treasure. You stepped up, and we really appreciate it. These are credits that you can use anywhere. They're official For 15 years, people have been putting these credits on their, well, not for 15 years on LinkedIn, but on their blog, in their blog role, in their profile, in their Twitter profile, and of course, put it on IMDb. You can open up an IMDb account with this. If anyone bitches about it, we'll gladly vouch. If you'd like to become a producer of the No Agenda Show, go here.
Dvorak.org/NA.
Thank you again for being the producers of episode 1463.
Our formula is this. We go out, we hit people in the mouth.
Order.
Shut up, slave.
Shut up, slave.
Yeah, shut up. Shut up.
Now, I have a clip series here we can play because it's a big. You're going to make a big stink out of this.
Who, you or they?
And that is they, not me. I don't care. But they are. You know who they are, the media.
Yeah.
And the liberals and the progressives.
Yeah.
Because Biden's going to Saudi Arabia hat in hand.
Yeah, that's right. They're journalist choppers.
The journalist
They
killers.
cut up journos.
They chop them into pieces, carry them out in suitcases.
Yeah, but it was, of course, a Washington Post journalist, so.
Yeah, so it's not really a journalist. But it was a guy that works there.
It was a guy who worked there, and he's dead now, and he's chopped up in a suitcase.
So I want to play these clips, and a couple of them are very short because there's just some comment that needs to be made. And let's start with Biden to Saudi Arabia. This is NPR.
President Biden's upcoming trip to Saudi Arabia next month is already getting a lot of attention. It's for a meeting with Arab leaders, including Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. The Biden administration has blamed the kingdom, and particularly the Crown Prince, for human rights abuses, like the killing of journalist Jamal Khashoggi and in the war in Yemen. But now the U.S. needs Saudi Arabia's help. NPR's international affairs correspondent Jackie Northam joins us now. Hey, Jackie.
Hi, Sue.
Jackie, the U.S.-Saudi relationship is nearly 8 decades old, but has it ever been as tumultuous as it is right now?
Yeah, you're right. I mean, this is a really important alliance, but it's definitely been strained over the years. And, just for some history, the relationship was initially sealed back in 1945, and that was when President Roosevelt met with Saudi King Abdul Aziz Ibn Saud, who founded the kingdom. And they met on a warship in the Suez Canal, and it was the first time the king had left Saudi Arabia. And we found some old newsreel footage of that meeting.
An American destroyer comes alongside a cruiser in Great Bitter Lake on the Suez Canal in Egypt. It brings Ibn Saud, king of the 5 million people of Saudi Arabia, to a conference with President Roosevelt.
And Sue, the king brought along carpets and dozens of members of the royal court and reportedly a number of sheep to slaughter on board. But, the two leaders, they forged a strategic alliance based on security in the region, as well as oil. American geologists had already discovered oil in the kingdom a few years earlier. And, those two things, regional security and oil, have helped hold the sometimes tenuous relationship between Saudi Arabia and the U.S. together over the years.
Yeah, related to our monetary system. I hope that comes up somewhere.
Oh,
bah humbug.
Clip 2.
Clip 2, okay.
Can you talk about some of the ways the two countries have cooperated but also clashed over the years?
Yeah, in a lot of practical and security matters, they've worked well together. Remember the first Gulf War, and that was an enormous operation which involved sending thousands of Western soldiers to protect Saudi Arabia's oil fields from being attacked by Iraq. They also worked together to drive Russian forces out of Afghanistan.
Okay, hold on a second.
Oh, wait a minute.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Wait, look, do you mind if we just replay that to parse that carefully? This is kind of weird.
Can you talk about some of the ways the two countries have cooperated but also clashed over the years?
Yeah, in a lot of practical and security matters, they've worked well together. Remember the first Gulf War, and that was an enormous operation which involved sending thousands of Western soldiers to protect Saudi Arabia's oil fields from being attacked by Iraq. They also worked together to drive Russian forces out of Afghanistan.
Oh, no mention of Yemen.
Well, the first Gulf War was to drive Iraq out of Kuwait.
Yeah.
Not Saudi Arabia. What are they talking about?
Well, I guess you could make the argument Kuwait first, then Saudi Arabia, maybe.
No. You can't make that argument. They're trying to rewrite history here for some reason. I'm not sure why. The other thing is, What does Saudi Arabia have to do with the situation in Afghanistan?
Maybe they sent a couple of troops.
Couple people? Couple guys?
Couple guys
named Abdul?
Yeah, no, but wasn't the idea that if they went into Kuwait, once you're in Kuwait, then you can go down to Saudi Arabia? I mean, that Kuwait was kind of the buffer.
They were blowing up the wells in Kuwait. Now, I never heard this until now.
Yeah, honestly, we're still looking for WMD.
There's something going on with the narrative. I don't know what it is, but there's something hinky about the narrative. I think there's another example coming up. Let's go to clip 3.
But there have been a lot of disputes. The Saudis imposed the oil embargo in the 1970s, which drove up the price of gas at the pump.
Okay, I stopped it there.
Yeah.
It was OPEC.
Yeah. It was... It was all of the oil-producing economic countries.
Yeah, all of them. It was a group of them. It was called OPEC. We remember the OPEC oil embargo.
Yeah.
But they're now attributing the whole thing to Saudi Arabia. What kind of reporting is this? Are they trying to confuse us? I don't mind them saying something like that if they can explain why.
May I remind you of the acronym NPR, National Public Radio. Even though they're not really running on government money anymore, it's the pipeline. It's how it works. It's how it goes. They're just towing the line.
There's something going on with the messaging that is hinky. And we've gotten 3 examples so far. I don't know if there's any more, but why are they doing this? What are they trying to get into your brain that is inaccurate so you can maybe better accept this meetup they're going to have?
Is it to accept the meetup, or is it to make Biden look even stupider for the meetup? I'm not sure. I think I'm on the fence. I'm on the fence here.
You're throwing my own theory at me, but yeah, maybe that's it. Let's go with, okay, now we can wrap it with the couple last clips.
And that was over U.S. policy towards Israel. There have been serious breaches in the relationship over extremism, and a lot of Saudi money has gone to extremists. Think of 9/11.
Yeah,
15 of the 19 hijackers were Saudi. And, there are ongoing concerns in the U.S.
Oh, my goodness.
I could have stopped
Oh,
it there,
my
too.
goodness. What? We're trying to speak truth now.
So now they're throwing that rhubarb, which is, we know that it was a bunch of Saudis, but
Osama.
Now are they making the claims that Saudi was behind it because they stopped all traffic but let the Saudi royal family fly out of the country? Are we going to bring that up again? This is a report that is loaded with propaganda and misinformation and skewed or redefined information or rewritten history.
Yeah.
It's hard to, again, there's something up. Let's continue.
Of 9/11, 15 of the 19 hijackers were Saudi. And, there are ongoing concerns in the U.S. about the Saudi-led war in Yemen and certainly human rights abuses, including the treatment of women.
You were in Saudi Arabia early on as Mohammed bin Salman emerged as the power in the kingdom, while his father, King Salman, has aged. What kind of impression has he made?
Well, at the beginning, he was like a breath of fresh air in the kingdom. He introduced all sorts of changes, including allowing women to drive. And that was about the time that I was there. It was back in 2018. There was a lot of excitement at that time. But there were also dark undertones, and it became apparent very quickly that MBS, the Crown Prince, brook no dissent. He would crush any sort of criticism, including throwing activists in prison for speaking out against him or what he was doing.
And then, of course, Saudi journalist Jamal Khashoggi was killed later in 2018, and it caused outrage across the world. How did that affect the U.S.-Saudi relationship?
Well, you're right. The killing made the Crown Prince really, for a short time anyway, an international pariah. U.S. intelligence determined that the Crown Prince was involved in Khashoggi's death by Saudi operatives. Now, at the time, Trump was president.
Wait a minute. Who did she say determined that?
Well, you're right. The killing made the Crown Prince really, for a short time anyway, an international pariah. U.S. intelligence determined that the Crown Prince was involved in Khashoggi's death by Saudi operatives. Now, at the time, Trump was president, and he had created a very warm relationship with the Crown Prince.
And
he questioned the CIA's finding. Here he is here.
The CIA has looked at it. They've studied it a lot. They have nothing definitive.
There's a stark difference, though, between the Trump and the Biden White House when it comes to the Crown Prince.
Right. I mean, when he was campaigning for president, Biden harshly criticized the Crown Prince. Here he is.
And I would make it very clear, we were not going to, in fact, sell more weapons to them. We were going to, in fact, make them pay the price and make them, in fact, the pariah that they are. There's very little social redeeming value in the present government in Saudi Arabia.
Orange man bad.
Brother. They brought him in. They got from Trump in. Way to go.
There's one last clip, but I want to say that now Biden's going there, and they're going to throw this in his face. He's going to have to strip or something when he's there.
What exactly? I mean, do you think he's really going over there to say? I mean, is this a real diplomatic mission? Because obviously the entire diplomatic world is laughing their ass off at this because everybody knows what's going on. Everybody knows that it's useless.
Well, what's he going to go over there and do? He's got to go over there, beg him to crank out the oil a little bit so he can, he's out of control.
But would it even make any difference at that point? I mean,
I doubt it.
I doubt it too. I think they'd have to crank it up quite a bit. And I don't even think it's not even that. It's the ships. The whole thing is falling apart.
The whole system, it gets backed up and you're in trouble. Yeah. Let's listen to the final part of this.
So why then is Biden going to Saudi Arabia now?
Oil. Biden wants the Crown Prince to raise oil production, to help lower the price at the gas pumps here in the U.S. But there are other reasons. Saudi Arabia is courting relations with both Russia and China. And also there's still an interest in maintaining a solid and, cohesive front against Iran. And the U.S. needs Saudi Arabia to help with that.
And does the Crown Prince have any asks of the U.S.?
Well, U.S. weapons for a start. Some weapons sales were suspended over concerns about the Saudi-led war in Yemen. The Saudis also want security guarantees. The kingdom feels it doesn't have enough backing from the U.S. when it's come under attack from Iran or Iranian militias. The Crown Prince is also looking to build up his relationship. He's traveling the region, he's making deals, and a meeting with President Biden would be important to help rebuild his reputation.
So is the world just supposed to forget about the killing of Jamal Khashoggi?
No. And, President Biden is facing a lot of criticism by human rights groups and members of Congress for making this trip to the kingdom. Human Rights Watch said Biden should get commitments on human rights before he does travel to Saudi Arabia. But the fact is the Crown Prince is really the de facto leader of Saudi Arabia and will likely be around for several decades. What will be interesting to see is if, the two men shake hands during this meeting later in July.
Oh, okay. Now I understand. They're just going to shake hands. Nothing else will come out of this. Nothing.
I wonder if they're going to shake hands. If Biden shakes his hand after all that he said,
yeah, right.
He's going to eat it from the left.
Yeah, and how about? I mean, should we be afraid for his actual safety? I mean,
I think we should always be afraid of his safety, but mostly going up and down the stairway.
So this we have a real problem, a global problem with energy and with inflation. I didn't know, by the way, and I'll come back to the energy prices. I did not know that the government, or was it I guess the Federal Reserve in 2021 allowed banks to take their reserves, which I think were typically 5 or 10%. You have to have at least 5 or 10% of the actual cash on hand in case people wanted to withdraw their money. They put those down to 0.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either. It was on zero hedge all of a sudden. I said, oh, okay, that makes sense. That could be a little interesting.
I want my money out of here. Well, we haven't got any money. What do you do with my money?
Yeah. Go to the Federal Reserve. Ask those guys. So, because of inflation and obviously the Green New Deal, Great Reset, everybody drive electric, no investment, ESG, all of this crap that is causing these prices to rise. Here's the result in the United States.
What happens when important emergency services that are already spread thin from a couple years of the pandemic can't even afford to fill up their tanks? Becoming a bigger problem in some parts of the country, forcing some fire departments and EMS services to limit the kinds of calls they can respond to.
The high cost of fuel isn't just making your commute more expensive. It's also forcing emergency responders in smaller communities to cut costs. For some, it means not responding to non-emergency calls. For others, cutting back on patrols, building inspections, and training courses for staff. Today, the average cost of a gallon of regular gas in the U.S. at a whopping $5. That price tag expected to climb further in the summer months. The surge impacting larger emergency response departments too, but not in the same way. I spoke with departments across the country who told me they're already having to or will have to make big sacrifices to offset the cost of gas.
We've never seen costs like this since I've been sheriff.
We're at 100% usage of our allotted fuel budget for this budget year already. I'm worried about the state of emergency response agencies throughout the nation.
One of the things we're doing today is we call it No Drive Friday. So the crews aren't really allowed to leave the station unless it's an emergency. We're also trying to reduce the number of vehicles that we send on an emergency response.
Decrease spending, purchasing new equipment, or possibly some of our maintenance items for the year. Those pre-disaster or pre-emergency activities that are labeled as non-emergency.
We're predicting a minimum of an $800,000 to $1 million countywide fleet vehicle increase in the fuel costs. And that cost is going to be astronomical.
So emergency services just shutting down. This is the new normal for everybody.
Yeah, well, haven't been doing a good job recently anyway, but okay.
What do you mean they haven't been doing a good job?
Well, I've heard there was the situation in Texas and people hanging up, the 911 call. I don't care, and they're hanging up. But this is because of the gas price. They can't go out. That's a little different than Austin, I think, is what you're referring to. Uvalde.
It looks like, where's this starting? Of course, we've told that the best thing is to use an electric vehicle. I think this is this in the UK? Yeah, in the UK. No, is it the UK? Yes, the UK has. You'll like this. They have a change they're implementing for regulations for charging of electric vehicles, and that goes into effect Thursday. Charging points in Britain will now have to have a data connection, which of course will measure, record, and transmit usage of your energy. But it also must be able to delay charging or slow it down during periods of high grid demand. So that's the freedom that I've always been talking about with electric vehicles, is they have you by the balls. They have you by the balls.
Yeah, I think that's true.
It's so stupid. It is, and it's so obvious that was going to happen. The Netherlands.
Charge at midnight, people.
We've talked about the Netherlands, about the nitrogen crisis that was brewing. If you remember the farmers when they did their first big demonstration, the first big protest with the tractors, the Dutch kind of led the way in that, and then Germany came later and France.
Yeah.
So now the Minister of Nitrogen and Nature, could it be more Orwellian? The Minister of Parliament of Nature, I think it's Nitrogen and Nature, has decided by her, without the support of the voters, who actually are not for this, has said, well, I'm really sorry that this is not what the country wants. She's elected as a representative. I'm sorry this is not what the country wants, but I accepted this career, and I just have to do what's best for the Netherlands. And that means that by 2030, 50% of all farms that raise livestock have to be gone.
The vegans at work.
8 years. No, it's not. It's because of nitrogen, you see.
That's right. Sure.
And the farmers are going, what? 50%. That's quite a lot.
Get rid of the beef.
And I think part of it is because the Netherlands is leading now in the fake food industry. Royal DSM, which you might have, back in the day, you might have even bought options or sold options on Royal DSM. They're a very popular company for people to invest in. They went from a chemical company, Pure Chemicals, to the largest taste and texture producer of plant and soy-based foods with
still pure chemicals.
Over 8 billion euros a year. And I think the Dutch are on deck to just eat more of this shit.
Yum.
Okay,
well, this can't be worse than that buried fish that they eat in those countries.
The what?
The fish. They get that fish, it's like a herring or something. They bury it for like 6 months, and it comes up rotten, and you eat it. Yum.
I don't know what you're talking about.
What is that fish? Somebody in the chat room, tell him what I'm talking about.
There's no fish that you cover up for 6 months.
And eat it rotten.
No, you may be confused with Denmark or something. It has nothing to do. Nothing to do with the Netherlands. So we have those issues with energy and with inflation, and then of course we have the entire workforce and the entire transportation industry is changing around us, and it's noticed.
Okay, I can tell you now the breaking news is that British Airways workers have voted yes to strike action. 95% said yes, and there was an 81% turnout. So the inevitable strike action looks like it potentially will go ahead. There will be a few meetings between now and whatever proposed date is put forward by the unions. Most likely they will target the summer holidays, so possibly the end of July and into August. They want maximum disruption, of course, but they say don't blame the workers, blame British Airways. Their dispute is over a 10% pay cut that British Airways check-in staff and ground staff here at Heathrow had during the pandemic, which is yet to be reinstated. They argue that bosses at British Airways have had their 10% pay cut reinstated to pre-COVID levels, and they want the same. They say it's not fair. In fact, they are described as being furious at this.
There you go.
Well, there's also rail strikes. I have the clip of rail strikes in the UK.
Okay.
What's wrong with this place?
Well, this is unions, and I think that's what's really taking over is let me see, rail strikes. Would it be under rail? Yes, it would be.
Across Britain, a third day of rail strikes has left train stations almost empty. Train companies have said only a fifth of passenger services would be up and running. About 40,000 cleaners, signalers, maintenance workers, and station staff have not reported for work, and a repeat of strikes on Tuesday and Thursday. The job action is a direct result of inflationary pressures as rail workers seek higher wages. The core issues are not only pay, but also working conditions and jobs. The train companies are looking at reductions in personnel and costs after the punishing year of the pandemic in which emergency government funding was crucial.
Same happening in Sydney.
Sydney commuters have been warned of possible widespread disruptions to train services next week after the government cancelled a key post-budget meeting with unions. Ministers were supposed to hold talks with the rail, tram and bus union this morning. The union has raised safety concerns about the intercity fleet, claiming guards can't see properly out of the new trains to give platforms the all clear.
Yeah.
The rail, tram and bus union has threatened to escalate industrial action next week, accusing the government of using stalling tactics. The intercity fleet arrived more than 2 years ago and has been sitting in sheds, costing taxpayers $30 million a month.
So this is all unions,
Wait.
What?
This is the government is using what tactics? Storm tactics? What did she say?
Using stalling tactics.
Stalling.
Stalling. Yeah, stalling.
Accusing the government of using stalling tactics.
Yeah, stalling.
Yeah, stalling tactics.
Stalling.
But this is unions. The unions. And I think, to me, it sounds like the unions are in on something.
Oh, maybe that's going to happen here then because Joe Biden's pro-union.
Well, we got...
In fact, he made a big fuss about when Apple went union.
Yep.
He said, yeah, good. Go union, you Applers.
Yep. Well, there's...
Staffing issues are also forcing American Airlines to stop service to 3 small airports. The airline tells us it's all because of the shortage of pilots at regional airlines, which fly from major hubs to small cities. Effective in September, Fort Worth-based American is going to stop flying to Toledo, Ohio, Ithaca, New York, and Islip, New York on Long Island.
I didn't even know you could fly to those places.
Well, you know now that you can't.
Well, that's all regional, though. And when you shut down regional routes, so they contract with a regional carrier, they slap American Airlines on the aircraft, and they fly those routes. When you do that, and then they have it's a domino effect. I know a little bit about the aviation system. This is going downhill. It's really,
let's listen to this clip.
Okay.
You can add on to your clippage. This is the flight delays skirmish clip.
Skirmish? Oh, goodness.
After widespread flight delays and cancellations blamed on bad weather and pilot shortages, Buttigieg met virtually with airline CEOs last week, telling them to make sure their flight schedules realistically reflect their staffing levels the rest of the summer. Now, the industry group Airlines for America says air traffic control staffing shortages may be responsible for a third of those recent flight disruptions, and it's asking Buttigieg to ensure that the FAA has adequate controller staffing ahead of the busy 4th of July holiday weekend. The FAA says it has acted on the issues raised by the airlines and fired back, saying after receiving $54 billion in pandemic relief to help save the airlines, the American people deserve to have their expectations met.
Okay, Pete. Mayor Pete. Yes.
He probably said something like, well, FAA, Federal Communications, I don't understand what they have to do with it.
States are trying to bring some relief.
Time to check the pulse, and we begin with a little relief in the checkout line.
Several states are suspending their grocery tax as Americans struggle with inflation. Beginning July 1st, Illinois is eliminating its grocery tax for an entire year.
Virginia is doing the same beginning next year, and Kansas is planning to gradually phase out its tax on groceries, bringing it to zero by 2025.
You know, we got a note from one of our producers about the Union Pacific issue, which is, they cut back 20% on Pilot and Flying J's delivery of the diesel exhaust fluid, the DEF, and also on some diesel. You correctly stated that it's common carrier. And why would they be doing this? You remember this?
Oh, yeah.
Well, if you look at Union Pacific's website, they're doing this because of ESG. They need to hit their environmental, social governance goals, and this is their solution. And they're pointing the finger at these rating agencies. It's very, very unclear who's in charge of measuring this ESG, but that's where it's coming from. They're saying it right there on their website.
Well, that's pretty interesting. That's a good catch.
I mean, this is, let me see. It's the private credit reporting agencies who are doing this. This is one of our producers sent me some of this here. Yeah, ESG score 51. Oh, no. Who does this? SPGglobal.com. Well, there you go.
We should look into them.
These things are, well, let's see about, who were they a part of? Oh, they're just brand new. They're part of the S&P.
Sure.
Oh, wait a minute. S&P Global True Cost. Okay, so maybe they're part of S&P. I mean, these are the same guys.
Spin-off.
But these are the same guys. Yeah, the same outfits that said, "Oh, don't worry, these collateralized loans. These are all great for the house."
Yeah, the house collateralized loans.
Hey, AAA for you.
Collapsed the economy in 2008.
Everybody
completely.
gets a AAA. And Europe is incredibly screwed, but I think I have an idea as to why Queen Ursula of the European Union is saying that, well, she said hydrogen, we're pretty sure she meant hydrogen, said hydrogen is the future of Europe.
She said hydrogen.
She said hydrogen. You remember that.
Saved your butt.
What do you mean?
No, nothing. Go on. You were saying it a lot, and then we actually, now it turns out you were right.
No, I was saying it after she said it.
Yeah, well, continue. I'm sorry. I interrupted the flow.
You did. So I've been curious as to what hydrogen is going to be implemented in Germany. And here it is. Siemens Energy they've started production of hydrogen electrolyzers in Berlin. They will have their first gigawatt production at the multi-gigawatt factory starting next year. And here's how it works. They create electrolysis with renewable sources. So I guess solar and wind, they're going to use that. And then with that, they generate electricity. And then, and then they stick that electricity into water. The hydrolysis takes place, hydrogen comes free, and then they store that, and they say that that is the future, and it's going to be great. Does this make any sense to you?
Well, it's only in one. I mean, in one sense, it makes no sense, which is, you're generating electricity to make hydrogen so it can make electricity. Why don't you just use the original electricity? But on the other sense, which I think is what they're trying to say, which is they're making the electricity with the wind power and the rest of it, and then the hydrogen is being used to store its value for use when there's no wind.
And how would you store that? How would you store the hydrogen?
Tanks.
But then how do you turn that hydrogen into electricity again?
Fuel cells.
Fuel cells, or do you burn it in a turbine?
You could do that too. There's lots of ways.
I think that's what they're planning on. I think they're saying that they're going to have turbines.
So they're using the hydrogen instead of batteries.
Yeah. Yes.
As the storage for the excess power during the peak moments.
Proton exchange membrane electrolysis.
Yeah. Fuel cell.
That's fuel cell?
Yeah.
Well, good luck to that. I mean, it would have been nicer if they had ran it parallel for a little while. Doesn't that seem like the way to go? It's like, hey, we'll have this and we'll
just figure that it works.
Check it out and use little bits and pieces.
It works. We use hope. There's hope. We hope it works. Call back to the beginning of the show.
All right. Do we need to talk about Russia and Ukraine at all?
I have one Ukraine clip if you want to play it.
Yeah. I have the same here. Actually, I have 15 seconds, so I'll play it first.
Overseas, a symbolic win for Ukraine. It's been granted candidate status by the European Union. Full membership could be decades away, but Russia called Ukraine's new designation hostile. It came as the U.S. announced a new $450 million military aid package.
What? Another package?
Yeah, another 450.
Another package?
Yeah, another one.
Holy crap. Where's this money coming from?
Have you checked your wallet?
All right. By the way, interesting how it's a win for Ukraine. It's a win because I think your clip shows they're losing.
Russian forces have now taken full control in the eastern city of Severodonetsk following weeks of heavy fighting. NPR's Greg Myrie reports it's part of Russia's bigger effort to take over all of eastern Ukraine.
Ukraine's military holds a dwindling number of cities in the eastern part of the country and engaged in tough street fighting in an attempt to hold on to Severodonetsk. But Ukrainian officials said Friday the remaining troops pulled out of a chemical plant, the last piece of territory they held. The Ukrainians now acknowledge the Russians are in full control of the city and have authority over the civilians who are unable or unwilling to leave. Severodonetsk is on the east bank of a river, and Russia is already bombarding a sister city on the west bank of the river. More heavy fighting is expected.
I think it's time for them to do a deal.
They should have done a deal a month ago.
Yeah, but it seems like this is now it's done, right? I mean, they're not going to move any further towards Kyiv.
Of course not. They just wanted these areas to begin with. It's almost a carbon copy of what happened in Georgia.
And Georgia is possibly up again, I hear.
Well, they're talking about, they're just doing it to irk Russia.
Well,
we'll see about Georgia. I don't have anything else about Ukraine. I've got something on the NATSA delay.
Okay, NATSA.
Which I think is funny for the dude's name Ben out there because it's like, this is an eye roller.
What is NATSA? National...
No, it's actually NASA, but the woman on NPR... pronounces it Natsa.
Okay.
And along with this one, she's a weekend woman, and she mispronounces a lot of stuff.
She doesn't know that NASA is NASA? Of all the T's that are being dropped in today's world?
Everyone else drops the T's. She adds them.
NASA is delaying...
Hold on. Let me start it again.
NASA is delaying a mission to an asteroid because of a software problem. The mission had been planned for this fall, but the state agency says that the software has not been tested properly because it missed its expected delivery date. NPR's Jeff Brumfield has more.
What? The roughly $1 million mission is called Psyche. It's traveling to an asteroid with the same name that orbits between Mars and Jupiter. The asteroid is made of metal, and it might teach researchers more about the metallic core of planets, including the the Earth. It was set to launch this fall, but critical software was delivered late and has not been properly tested. Lori Leshin is director of NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory, which oversees the mission.
Delay is very disappointing, but it is the right decision to ensure the Psyche mission is a success.
NASA says it is now looking at whether it can reschedule the launch for next year.
I didn't really hear her say NASA.
You know, I would listen to this clip when you play it through this system. I can't hear it either, but I can tell it's one of those blue dress, gold dress
it's
things.
In the beginning, right? Right in the beginning?
The first thing she says is NASA.
NASA is delaying a mission.
It's clearer. It gets muddy. I don't know what happened. I'm
NASA
sorry.
She's not saying. She's just saying NASA. You're hearing things.
I'm hearing things. She said NASA, I tell you.
You got to be careful.
I'm hearing things.
You're hearing things, and airline pilots are seeing things.
This morning, yet another sighting of an unidentified person wearing a jetpack flying high above the Los Angeles area about 15 miles from LAX.
Jetpack going about 4,500 feet.
The strange sight detailed through air traffic control audio between an American Airlines pilot and an airport dispatcher.
He said 4,500 and eastbound. Affirmative. That was an aircraft 4.5 miles ahead, reported a person in a jetpack eastbound at 4,500.
No word on the identity of the makeshift air traveler, but it's not the first sighting of its kind.
We just passed a guy in a jetpack.
Don't hear that every day.
Back in December, another American Airlines pilot on a training flight captured this video of what appeared to be someone wearing a jetpack flying just a few miles from the airport. But the video was dismissed as a balloon that looked like a guy with a jetpack. And just a few months earlier, last August, multiple pilots reported some kind of high-flying hazard in the sky.
We just saw the guy pass by us.
A person in a jetpack reported 300 yards south of the LA final at about 3,000 feet.
Jetpack technology is out there with sightings at the Statue of Liberty and in the UK, where the Royal Navy's been developing and testing a jet suit for boarding enemy ships. But experts say operating a makeshift jetpack near commercial flights could spell disaster.
The size, weight of a person in a jetpack impacting an airplane at the exact wrong spot could potentially bring that airliner down. People need to fly them in a responsible way.
The FAA says it has worked closely with the FBI to investigate every reported jetpack sighting, and so far, no sightings have been verified.
Okay. Now, first of all, I want one of these.
Oh, you want to be at 5,000 feet?
No, that was number two. Number two, I believe the report said he was going eastbound, so he's no pilot because as far as I know, you got to be on the odd numbers going eastbound. So he should be at 3,500 or 5,500. You have a real good chance of getting someone smashing right into your head at that level because that's how it's arranged eastbound, westbound in the United States. 4,500 feet.
Maybe he was climbing.
This is not some experimental rig. That's high. People have no idea. That's for just being in the elements in your jetpack. I mean, do you think
but you want one?
Oh, hell yeah! I'm not going to fly at 4,500 feet. But
okay, what are you going to fly it at?
I'd fly it at 500 to 750 helicopter height.
Be 500. It'd be right over my head.
Well, that's what helicopters fly. They fly 500 to 750.
Okay, you're at 500 feet. Now, where are you going to go?
To
You're
Austin?
Go to Austin?
Yes. To Austin. To the
You're going to go to do the Beck show? You're going to fly over to the Beck studios and the jetpack?
I don't know how fast the jetpack goes, but that's a 5-hour drive. So if I could cut it down, that'd be great. But I don't think this thing will have the endurance. I don't think it'll make it to Austin. I'd like to know, why is this so? Who is doing this? Someone's flying these things.
Yeah, somebody's making them.
Whatever,
homebrew.
Whatever it is, I at least want to try flying one. That would be fun.
I'm going to show my support by donating to No Agenda. Imagine all the people who could do that. Oh yeah, that'd be fab. Yeah, on No Agenda in the morning.
And what I expect to hear is, oh! Just thank a few people.
Never gets old, John. Never gets old.
Charles Kiley, or Kyle, I guess, in Mount Airy, Maryland, 14630. He wants some house karma. We'll give it to him at the end. Lydia Terry Dominelli in Rochester, New Hampshire, 122.22. Goat Karma will give you that at the end. Eric Johnson in Lincoln, Nebraska, 8008.
Yeah, the boobs.
It's a birthday boobs. Sir Kevin McLaughlin, Duke of Luna, lover of America, lover of boobs, in Locust, North Carolina, 8008. Cone, what is this? Cone Monster in Rotterdam, Netherlands, 666.66. He's got a knighthood announcement. You want to read the parts of it that are important?
Yes, finally I reached knighthood, a long-desired status as a helicopter pilot. AW-139, it's a big pilot. Big copter. For the police, I used your media deconstruction to guide my colleagues through the pandemic and onward. Well, how about that?
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. I became the guy who shines a light on the other side of the story. Often I was asked how I knew all of this. Of course, I credited your show, but I doubt it made them actually listen to the show themselves. It was way easier just to ask Monster. Anyway, next to my job, I enrolled in law school at the Erasmus University of Rotterdam. I came to the conclusion we actually know nothing about our rights. No kidding, you're at the right show once again. He says, anyway, back to the round table. He'd like to have the nicest whiskey he knows of, Aran Amarone cask finish. Are you familiar with this whiskey?
I think it's referring to Amarone,
Amarone, okay.
Cask they're using. No, it's I think it's it's like from Lebanon maybe or some. It's Iran.
It's the nicest whiskey he knows. It's the nicest whiskey he knows. So maybe you should try this out.
A lot of good whiskeys. A lot of them are good.
He may be onto something. I don't know.
I'm sure it's a good one. When I see it, I'll buy it.
Night name, Sir Monster. Keep up the good work. Thank you very much, Kuhn. We will see you at the round table in a few minutes.
Chris Themo in Worcester, Massachusetts, 6006. Please de-douche me.
You've been de-douched.
David Zawislak in Maine Township, Illinois, 6006. Small boobs, de-douche me.
You've been de-douched.
Daniel Conderman in Edgerton, Wisconsin, $60. He says, you guys rock. We were watching The Fall of Rome together. Jeff Kett in Niagara Falls, Ontario, 5678, one of my favorites. James Dowsett in Hawksney, Suffolk, UK, 56.
Here's an issue. He believes that he has now made it to $2,000 total without putting himself towards knighthood, and he wants to rectify it. And this is not on the list and not highlighted. Was this missed, do you think? Or
I think it's because of the quizzical nature.
Quizzical nature? What do you mean quizzical?
Can I be?
No, he says he wants his knight name. He says with this payment.
All right, let's put him on.
Okay. It doesn't seem like a quizzical nature to me. He's saying, can I
asked a question? Without a question mark, that seems quizzical.
He says, with this payment, I've made myself toward knighthood $2,000 without ever being knighted. I would like to rectify this. Then he says, can I be Sir James?
Goes on the list. Okay, put him in. He wants a shout out to Lumi and the Nerd Game Gang. Thank you for your courage. Can I get some job karma, please, and maybe a few lesser heard jingles of your choice? Love and lit. I guess we have to do that.
No, I can't do it now. This is all messed up. Sir James.
Well, then I'll continue as you write that stuff down.
Thank you.
Ready?
Yeah, go.
Kevin Benson in North Mead, New South Wales, 5555. David West, 5510 in Hutto, Texas. David Wicker in Jacksonville, Florida. Travel karma, you get that at the end. John Gaynor, 5280. Christopher Pike, $51 in Girard, Kansas. Nicole Schreck. Yeah. Combined Locks, Wisconsin. Jeez. It says, sounds like her name is spelled like the ogre in Shrek. And she needs a de-douching.
All right.
You've been de-douched.
Helene Jansen in Rotterdam, Netherlands. 50, and these are all 50. I'd like to do the $50 donors, name and location, if applicable. Jack Schofeld in Yankertown. You know about the Yankertown. Oh,
yeah, I've heard. Yeah, I heard what happens.
Yankeetown, not
Yankeetown. No, that's different.
Yankertown is for the Mets, and this is for the
It's
Yankees.
very different, yes.
Shane Morrison in Clark, New Jersey. Douglas Ellis in New York City. Jesus Allen up there in Austin, Texas, your friend. Shauna Norberg in Seattle, Washington. Josh Springer in Indianapolis, Indiana. Pamela Nyman in Amsterdam. Andrew Butterfield in Bettendorf, Iowa. Mary Kiley in Santa Fe, New Mexico. Scott McCarty in Lodi, California. Stephen Crummy in El Cajon, California. William Kidwell in Dover, Delaware. Danielle First in Kaukauna, Wisconsin. And last but not least, Dame Knight in Edmonds, Washington. Thank you, those people, for helping us out on show 1463. It's very appreciated.
Yes, definitely is. And let me see, circling back. I'm circling back. I'm doing just like Psen. This is Psaki. Psen Psaki. Who was it? Was it Kevin? Who was it? Yes. No, James. James Dowsett. Dowsett. And he wanted a jobs karma, so I'll give him that one.
Jobs, 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 and jobs. Let's vote for jobs. You've got karma.
And thank you, everybody who supported the show. These producers came in over $50, under $50 for reasons of anonymity. We don't mention any of that. But also that's where lots of people are on our sustaining donations. There are monthlies, recurring. You can actually set it up yourself, do whatever you want, any number. That is the whole idea of value for value. You give whatever, no matter how much or how little. It's the value you can afford. Currently, 4% of all listeners are producers and actually do that. It's pretty low, but it keeps us alive, and we do appreciate what everybody is doing. If you'd like to learn how to become a producer, go here.
Dvorak.org/NA. It's your birthday.
We've got birthdays here. Zimbabwe, Baron of Swaziland, celebrated on June 6th, so a little bit late on that. Circumvent the Law says happy birthday to Dame G Money. It's her birthday today. Eric Johnson, his brother Chris, turns 45. Turned 45 yesterday. Jamie Q, happy birthday to her husband, Matt Q. Q is back, 33 on the 29th. Brian Lawrence says happy birthday to his wife, Shauna, and we say happy birthday to all of these fine producers on behalf of the No Agenda Show.
It's your birthday, yeah. Title changes, turn and face the slave. Title changes, don't want to be a douchebag.
Yeah, so all of a sudden we went from almost nothing to two changes here. We've got Sir Slarty Bartfast, who becomes a baronet today. We congratulate him with that. And Dame G Money becomes a baroness, and she will henceforth be known as the Baroness of North Texas Hill Country. Congratulations to you, and happy birthday, Dame G Money, and thank you very much for your enduring support. So now we have two knights. We need them up on stage and get a little bladage going here. Get a blade? You have a blade? John?
Hold on, it's stuck.
Oh.
Okay, there it is.
Oh, beautiful. Up on the podium, please. Coon Monster and James Dowsett. Gentlemen, both of you supported the No Agenda Show in the amount of $1,000 or more. We are very proud to bring you here on the lecta up on the podium so that we can give you your props. Here you go. I hereby pronosticate thee Sir Monster and Sir James, Knight of the Scrubland. Gentlemen, for you, we've got Hookers and Blow, Rent Boys, and Chardonnay. Of course, we have a special request for Aran Amarone cask finished whiskey. We got warm beer and cold women up here as well. If you want some Harlots and Haldol, we got that on deck. We got geishas and sake, vodka and vanilla, bong hits and bourbon, ginger ale and gerbils. Mutton and mead is always that last one that people like to have. And once again, I see you sipping on the mead. No, I have not yet been to the Hill Country Mead Works, but I hope to do that soon. Once I get this sound right, then I'll go and check out some mead. I'll make it sound even better.
Go tomorrow.
Thank you very much. Go to noagendanation.com/rings. Give us all the information that you have, particularly where we can send the ring and your ring size. And you too will be able to go to the next meetup and proudly display your knight status. Thank you very much for supporting the No Agenda Show.
No Agenda Meetups.
Okay, we have two reports. The first one from Redmond, Oregon, a meetup which enjoyed a lovely crowd and bright sunny skies on Saturday the 25th, according to Bethany, who organized this in Redmond. Thank you to Seth, Sir Earthbound Astronaut, for hosting, and a special thanks to some of the Oregon Local 33 crew that drove out from Portland. And that was at the Mecca Grande Brewery Tasting Room in Madras, Oregon. Hairball Rocks Wisco, they had a meetup as well. That was on the 23rd in Oshkosh. And, whoa, man, they had 26 producers in attendance, some familiar faces, some new. If you're thinking about going, say Dank Steady and Mrs. Dank Steady, you've got to go. Our No Agenda tribe is filled with amazing people, and if Hairball is heading to a stage near you, just go and rock out. The band puts on an amazing show. I guess they had a meetup around the band. Hairball rocks.
Band Hairball.
I guess. Here's a report from La Siesta.
Hey, everybody. It's Leo Bravo at No Agenda Meetup number 29. I'm going to pass the phone around. Let anybody, say whatever they want to say.
Hey, John and Adam. This is Steven from the Orange Curtain. I am the hydrogen guy.
This is Dame Swagger Pants from behind the Orange Curtain, and my husband is the hydrogen guy.
In the morning, it's Predicate with smoking hot wife Trish the Dish. Boom shakalaka.
Boom shakalaka.
This is Watui Wu. The Democrats are the party of slavery, and they want their slaves back, and they don't care about skin color this time.
Haroldine from Whittier. I am a producer, and I'm not Mark Tanner.
This is Angie representing the ranch in the morning.
In the morning.
MK Ultra. Word of the year is abortion.
Good morning. All right, bye. Thank you very much, Leo Bravo. Here's what's coming up if you are thinking of checking out any meetups today. A couple of them are already underway. Buffalo, New York, Michigan Local 1. The Crossroads of America No Agenda Tribal Redux also underway. The Summertime at Livens Easy Piney Woods. That actually is underway as well. So, my goodness. And at 7:30, this is probably underway as well. The Not a Russian Oligarch Yacht Meetup in France, Sir Brian of London there in the south of France on a catamaran. So since those are all happening, let me give you a quick overview of what's happening. July 1st, Oregon Local 33, New Orleans, Louisiana. On the 2nd, Cocoa, Florida. On the 9th, Brockport, New York. Uxbridge, Ontario. Berlin, Germany. Hello, Deutschland. On the 10th of July, Arlington, Virginia, Plainfield, Illinois. 16th, Anchorage, Alaska. Good, it's the time they did another one up there. Fresno, California, St. Louis, Missouri. On the 20th, Columbus, Ohio. On the 21st, Charlotte, North Carolina. Toronto, Ontario on the 23rd. Albany, Oregon on the 30th. Honolulu. They've got some meetups going on there as well. The 31st, Arlington, Washington, back on the 31st. Victoria, BC, August 2nd. Wildkill, New York, August 4th. It's a bonanza. You must go to one of these. If you can't find one near you, start one, please. NoAgendaMeetups.com. Always a party.
Sometimes you want to go hang out with all the nights and days. You want to be where you won't be triggered or held to blame. Everybody feels the same.
It's like a party. All right. I see you have a couple of ISOs for our show this beautiful Sunday.
I have 3.
Okay.
But how many do you have?
I have, let me see, 1, 2, 3. I have 4. And really 3. Really 3.
All right, play your 3.
Okay, I have... We didn't play the clip, actually. This is a Roe v. Wade-related clip of Maxine Waters.
You ain't seen nothing yet.
No.
Buddy.
This one, obvious one.
Q is back!
What did he say?
What did he say? You heard the whole clip before.
Q is back!
Q is back.
Q is back. Okay.
Yeah. And then
next.
This is my favorite.
Don't block me, Chauncey.
It's cute. All right. Well, I have a
I guess you have something really good.
No. I got some that they're good enders. I don't know if it's good as that. But I got a Roe v. Wade one too, My Body.
Ooh, hold on a second. My Body. A little long, 3 seconds.
Okay, well, let's try this one. The what show?
I don't even know what show we're doing.
Wait, is that Glenn Beck?
I don't even know what show we're doing.
Who is that?
It's Fletcher.
Really?
I don't even know what show we're doing.
Sorry, Fletch. You sound like Glenn Beck. I don't know if that's good or bad news.
Fletcher's got a fabulous voice.
He does.
And then I got Is What?
It is what it is.
I like the It is what it is, but personally, I think
Q is back!
I think Q is... You don't like Q is back?
No, it sounds like Jew is back. That's the reason I don't like it. That's why I had so much trouble understanding it.
That's on you, brother.
Yeah, I guess it is.
That's what's going on in your head.
I can't be the only one.
I don't know what's up with that.
I thought you liked the little kid.
Oh, you liked the little kid?
No, I thought you did.
I did, but, I have the feeling you didn't. Because you always get mad when, when it's about you.
Don't block me, Chauncey.
I think it's super cute, but, I'm a little gun shy. I'm thinking, you don't like it. You don't like the people mixing about you. You think you're being the brunt of jokes, where it's really just love and respect from 6-year-olds.
Well, there's that one. I like that one. I also like the Fletcher one. And play them back to back.
Back to back? Oh.
We'll play them.
Oh, you can't play these. No, is it too... Okay, hold on. This is too...
I don't even know what show we're doing.
Don't block me, John C.
No, I think we just leave it. Don't block me, John C. That's the
okay,
clearest one.
I'm good with it.
The best one.
Despite your accusations.
I'm just repeating what you said. You said you didn't like
I must have a screw loose.
You said you didn't like the end of show mix because it was about you blocking people.
Okay. Ready?
Yeah.
Anything left?
Yeah, I got lots of stuff left. I'm waiting for you.
Well, I want to get the Iran deal out of the way. So they have that done. Oh, no, forget it. Let's play. I've decided to do a new segment. What is white privilege according to people who think they have it?
Oh, goodness.
Huh?
Is this an Ask Adam?
Don't you think? No, it's not an Ask Adam. It's just, it turns out that a lot of white people go around and say, I got white privilege. And then it's like, what is white privilege to you? Well, some people seem to ask it because the NPR people say, what is white privilege to you? And they answer. So let's start with these. It's a two-parter. One is they ask the question.
Especially as a white parent, as a parent with privilege, because all the privileges and resources that are attached to my son go with him.
And what are those?
Wow. I think white privilege means you have vocal fry.
Well, she has vocal fry.
She does,
She's
yes.
very full of herself woman. But let's see what is white privilege to her, because I've been wanting to know.
And what are those?
A loudmouthed mother who will raise hell. Someone who knows how to write a letter to a politician.
What?
Someone who knows how to call up an agency and ask questions or send emails and file complaints. Someone who is home enough so that my son goes to school every day well rested, well fed, and feeling loved.
Well,
unlike all you Hispanics and black people,
you don't know how to write a letter.
You don't know how to write a letter. You're stupid.
She doesn't have white privilege. She's racist. She's straight up.
She is racist.
Straight up capital
totally
R.
Racist. This list.
No, this is exactly right. This is exactly what white privilege is. It's white people who are racist. Who think that
bragging about it.
That black and brown people can't write a letter, can't call up this. I got to hear that thing again. This is, oh my goodness. This is dynamite.
And what are those?
A loudmouthed mother who will raise hell. Someone who knows how to write a letter to a politician. Someone who knows how to call up an agency and ask questions or send emails and file complaints. Someone who is home enough so that my son goes to school every day well rested, well fed, and feeling loved.
Clip of the day.
At the end of the show. Holy crap. Good segment. Now, will you be able to maintain this in the same stellar manner you've maintained the Millennial Minute?
I'm going to try the best I can, but I'm on the lookout for white privilege clips, so if anybody hears any of these where somebody actually explains what white privilege is, we'll run them.
Oh, my goodness. I got some white privilege for you. CNN anchor. I think if you were caught masturbating at work and you're allowed to come back to work, I think that's white privilege. Do you think Jeffrey Toobin has white privilege?
Yeah. He definitely has white privilege.
Man, he's mad. He's mad.
You know, one useful way of thinking about the way the court is approaching the...
This is about the gun decision that has now legalized concealed carry. And I believe constitutional...
He's got concealed carry.
I'm sorry?
He's got concealed carry.
How do you know?
Because he was masturbating.
You know, one useful way of thinking about the way the court is approaching the Second Amendment is to think about the First Amendment. You know, we know that in the United States, you have the right under the First Amendment to say pretty much anything, anywhere, because we have freedom of speech in the United States. Except on Twitter. What the conservatives on the Supreme Court are saying is we want the Second Amendment to be a first-class right like the First Amendment. And we want to be able to carry guns anywhere, anytime, without any sort of regulation by the government, without background checks, without restrictions on where you can take a weapon, without restrictions on how you can carry a weapon. Now, they haven't gone that far yet, but they are clearly moving in that direction.
Man, you know, it's like, because there was another Supreme Court decision which just, I think, was completely snowed under by Roe v. Wade, which may have also been part of the point, because the whole gun conversation, even though the Protecting Our Children in America from Guns Act, whatever it's called, did pass, and the president signed it into law. So now states potentially, same deal, by the way, states can potentially put red flag laws into effect, and they'll get money from the federal government for it.
Good.
You want to hear about the Supreme Court decision from guns, since it's kind of important?
I'm all ears.
For more than a century, New York State has had one of the nation's strictest laws regulating the concealed carrying of firearms. But today, the Supreme Court struck that law down. The New York law required anyone seeking a license to carry a concealed handgun to show they had proper cause, a special need for it. But by a 6-3 majority, the court today declared that law violates the Second Amendment right to keep and bear arms. Justice Clarence Thomas, writing for the court, we know of no other constitutional right that an individual may exercise only after demonstrating to government officers some special need. It is not how the Second Amendment works when it comes to public carry for self-defense. The New York law, Thomas wrote for the court's 6 conservative justices, gave local officials too much discretion over a constitutional right.
Why isn't it good enough to say I live in a violent area and I want to be able to defend myself?
Now New York must revise the 109-year-old law in accordance, Thomas wrote, with this nation's historical traditions of firearms regulation. Today, the governor of New York, Kathy Hochul, swift in her reaction.
This decision isn't just reckless, it's reprehensible. It's not what New Yorkers want. And we should have the right of determination of what we want to do in terms of our gun laws in our state.
President Biden, in a statement, said the ruling should deeply trouble us all, adding, in the wake of the horrific attacks in Buffalo and Uvalde, we must do more as a society, not less, to protect our fellow Americans.
I think it's a bad decision. I think it's not reasoned accurately, but I'm disappointed.
In his dissent, Justice Stephen Breyer mentioned the nearly 300 mass shootings that have occurred this year, saying the court's decision does not consider the potentially deadly consequences and that it burdens states' efforts in preventing gun violence and protecting the safety of its citizens. But Justice Samuel Alito firing back, writing, how does the dissent account for the fact that one of the mass shootings near the top of its list took place in Buffalo? The New York law at issue in this case obviously did not stop that perpetrator.
Yeah, this is from last Thursday. I actually was thinking we should have had it on the last show.
Yeah, we probably should have. But
I think it came during the show.
Yes, it did. And even more fun, I mean, not really fun, but Holy crap, Oslo. I mean, did you even see this news? It has been reported about the mass shooting in Oslo at the Pride, during the Pride festivities.
No.
Okay, well, we got a report actually from Sir Snoldus of the dude's name, Ben. And he says, isn't it typical when something happens in Oslo worthy of international attention, it has to be some dickhead shooting up something? Yes, a lone gunman opened fire at a club, killing 2, wounding 11, in addition to another 22 people harmed in the aftermath, 33 total, just a coincidence.
Oops.
He says, the backdrop, Oslo is at the height of summer this weekend with the big Pride parade and tons of rock festivals going on. The city is full of people for one of both of these events. The gunman first opened fire at a bar, killing 2 people before shooting his way down the street to a pub. It's called the London Pub, a local gay bar, where he was tackled to the ground by civilians before being arrested by police. Gee, if only those civilians were armed, they might have been able to stop him sooner. Maybe not, but that's not possible because gun laws in Norway are super strict. In order to even purchase a firearm in Norway, you must be a member of a gun club with the gun club vouching for your proficiency in handling firearms with a certification. You are only allowed to buy ammo for guns you are registered as owning. It's unclear how he came to possess the weapons used. Yeah, okay. So, yeah. But of course, this is very embarrassing for people who feel that guns should not be available because it just doesn't make any difference.
No. Nobody wants to listen to that, what you just said.
Well, what do you mean? People listen to me all the time.
Nobody wants to listen. Nobody wants to hear it.
Nobody wants to hear it.
I think we should do what they did in Ukraine. I was thinking about this the other day. Remember at the very beginning of the war where they took a bunch of guns
and put them in boxes on the street, yeah.
And they just throw them there. I think we should do that in the homeless encampments. Don't you think that would be great?
Yeah, I mean, you're in San Francisco. I'd love to see those fireworks. That would be great. Yes, I think it's a good idea. I think you should. Think you should start it off right away. Get it going.
Box of guns to the homeless.
All right, I'm going to see if I can fix some of the crisis here. It's like the heat is playing tricks all over Texas.
That's what happens. It's Texas.
It is Texas. And I'm going to work on this. I think you're right. I think I need to plug in a different mic. This just seems to be completely incompatible. You sound dynamite.
That's all that counts. Don't change a thing.
End of show mixes from Tom Starkweather. We've got Sir Michael Anthony and Gwoof! With an end of show mix that is exactly 3 minutes and 33 seconds long. Okay. Message received, Gwoof. We appreciate it.
That took work.
It did. Yeah, he ends it rather abruptly. Coming to you from the heart of the Texas Hill Country here in FEMA Region number 6 in the morning, everybody. I'm Adam Curry.
And from northern Silicon Valley, where we are all checking our white privilege. I'm John C. Dvorak.
We return on Thursday with more deconstruction of whatever comes our way. Until then, please remember us at Dvorak.org/NA. We appreciate all the support. Value for value is what it's about. In the morning, everybody, I'm Adam Curry. And adios, mofos.
Don't block me, John C.
In the morning on a Thursday, John C. was up way after dawn.
Okay, he's fickle.
He'd had emails all through yesterday. It seemed John Stack had the horn.
I think at some point...
Let's face it, you blocked him.
He's a slave without a nation, a knight with a tame no more. The thought of a dedouching could chuck him overboard.
I don't think I blocked him.
You blocked him.
Now he believes at the end of the day is, you know, the thing.
When someone annoys you, whatever it is, block.
If it's trollroom.io, you say, then he'll be there proven.
You got blocked.
I got blocked.
He's a cuck without a third man, a misogynistic pig, using podcast famous sham to get a corporate gig. And he'll tell you when you're wrong and when you aren't right too. You'll never need another partner, Adam, to disagree with you.
He likes to comment on how dumb you are. He's an old guy who just wants to bitch about some other old guy.
That old fart. Why don't you fire him and put me on your show?
They never suggest John Stack.
Goodbye, John Stack. Has it been nice with your insight in our lives? I could concede
Your point of view is about as useful as a fart in a national suit. So I'll block your mom too. You're on a blacklist, what I can't undo. No, I'm not bothered, I don't feel no shame. Cause tomorrow I'll block some other troll again. Back and forth, so I'll block you, make me free. Block your mom too.
If your retorts were interesting, hope you feel so. See you through all the dark winters and Arabian Nights too. So goodbye, Darren O'Neill. Goodbye, CSB, and your AI the cooking crew.
Well, some they toot and some they don't. And some podcast as well.
That old fart.
And some they boost and some they won't. Well, their douchebaggery smells.
That old fart.
He's looking for an exit strategy for that he really needs. Cause if it's poverty, you say, yeah, well, I guess it's just not need. His marriage is a failing. He hasn't caught the coof. At least he's still a pure blood, trapped in that milieu.
The only reason I say this, he sent an exceptional amount today.
That old fart.
Dvorak may never have heard of it. He may have slept through that class.
That old fart.
Surprised it was new to him. He worked in a laboratory.
You got your wet bulb on today?
Goodbye, John Stack. Has it been nice? With your insights in our lives, I could concede your point of view is about as useful as a fart in a national suit. So I'll block your mom too. You're on a blacklist, what I can't undo. No, I'm not bothered, I don't feel no shame. Cause tomorrow I'll block some other troll the same.
Back and forth, set me free. If your retorts were interesting, hope you feel so. See you through all the dark winters and Arabian Nights too. I'm not biting, yeah, no, you know. Gotta give the whole load. Big, massive dumps. Goodbye, John Stack and Darren O'Neill. Goodbye, CSP. Gitflation too. Goodbye, shit posters. Goodbye, Mastodon. Goodbye, Fediverse. Goodbye, John.
I think it was hope. Today,
jabs for the babies.
As of right now,
jabs for the babies.
As of this minute.
And what we're trying to do right now is to deal with an acute problem right now.
Look, I'm deeply sympathetic to the fact that families are paying a lot at the pump.
That they have taken away our right to have reasonable restrictions. We can have restrictions on speech.
That matters. That matters. That matters to teachers. That matters to home health care aides. That matters to construction workers. That matters to plumbers. That matters to lifeguards. Those are the people that, and many others.
We need more money to plan for the second pandemic. There's going to be another pandemic.
You know, a bat to a pangolin to a hippopotamus to people, whatever.
To me, this is just pure insanity. Pure insanity. We are going backwards in time.
Are we going to say, no, it's over, we're going back to the Dark Ages? No, stop it.
I feel like we're almost going backwards.
Shocking.
Jabs for the babies.
Absolutely shocking.
We recommend against it. We are not going to have any programs where we're trying to jab 6-month-old babies with mRNA.
I think it was hope.
I am the mayor.
That's why I took your job. Step a celebrity. Eastside, New York killer. Stop clowning. You know I still ain't dropped a mandate. No jazz, no job. I got swagger. First off, screw the freedoms and rights you claim. Unvaxxed can't work unless they in the game. You claim you ain't a slave, but I rule your life. Same goes for your child, husband or wife. Plus the Constitution ain't that hard to rip. Down and violate the Supreme Court, so punk ass stitches. The government and criminals got all the tools. Why you waiting to show up for you fools? You know the rules. Grab your phones if you see a Glock. Call the cops because they got Glocks. We got to keep the citizens to pesos. Only we can bring an end to the menace. New York is giving up. Wiki Wild Wild West. New York is in the Wild Wild West. Jamaica in the Wild Wild West. Bringing swagger to the Wild Wild West.
Dvorak.org/NA.
Don't block me, Chauncey.